What is up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Hopefully, you guys are having a good day so far. Um, yeah, we're going to have a group watch party together. A couple things I'm going to do first, just because I'm not a total stooge. And yeah, okay, I had to check my monitor, make sure everything's going good. All right. For those of you that don't know, Candace and Sean Ryan's episode finally dropped today, live at 5. By now, it probably is done, but I'm only at the 1 hour and 20 something mark. But I went back to where the good stuff began. And then once we make it to the 1 hour and 20 mark, where I ended before I got on here, because I did go to the gym and I didn't have time to start watching it when it was live, but hey, we're doing it. We're going to watch the parts about Charlie Kirk, TPUSA, his assassination, Erica Kirk, the investigation, and yeah. And then we can decide once they like end that and they move on, because they also end up talking about, if you watch the promo video that dropped today, they start talking about Trump and they start talking about Kanye. The beginning 25 minutes is her backstory, her like life story. I'm not showing the whole video. Okay. If you guys want to watch the whole video, you guys can do two things. You can pay on Sean Ryan's Patreon, which I'm a paying member, and you can go and pay and watch the full thing, or you're going to have to wait till it drops on YouTube, which is usually 4 days after it drops on Patreon. Okay. I'm not playing the whole video. That's a messed up move. I am going to also be stopping it, and we're going to talk about things along the way. Okay. It's YouTube. I still have to play by the copyright rules and the fair use rules. Okay. But it is insane. It's insane. So without further ado, let's get right into it. But please, as you guys come in and get settled, do me a favor and hit the like and the subscribe. It's the best way to help support the channel. It's a free way to help support the channel. Also, I've seen other people do this in the beginning. I might as well do it in the beginning and at the end, because some people don't always stay for the end. If you guys want to ever donate to the show and you don't want to give to YouTube, you can do it here through the Blackline Brief Venmo account. Or you can do it through the buymeacoffee.com/the Blackline Brief account. Just when you do so, go ahead and throw a note or a memo what you would like your donation or your support to go to, and then I make sure that it does. All right. There's a lot of interesting things in here that we are going to talk about, some things that we haven't heard before. Okay. And I'm going to add some things along the way because so here, let's start with this real quick. Sean Ryan, what it shows to me, okay, and I agree with Candace's take on it. Looking back, I think a lot of people were critical of Sean Ryan as to his interview with Brian Harpole, but I actually agree with Candace, right? And I kind of figured that out, not because she just said it, but I've watched it a dozen times, done many breakdowns on it. And what Sean did, unintentionally, I think, you'll hear him say the reason why he didn't push back was he felt bad. It was still early on in the whole thing. And like, you know, they hung out before and like Brian was crying and like Sean didn't want to push too hard and he felt bad. And, you know, he's dealt with grief and he was uncomfortable. And I get it. Okay, fine. I mean, still, I wish he would have pushed a little, but actually, when you look at it, if he would have pushed a little, it could have made Brian shut down completely, close up, and stop doing what he did. What Sean did was allow Brian to just talk himself into a freaking grave. You know, Brian got really comfortable and thought that Sean was a complete safe space. And Sean not pushing back actually did us a lot of favors. It made Brian comfortable. And Brian just kept talking. And, you know, that's a common tactic with someone that lies. They give more information than what is required. Gives more information than what the question entails. And Brian did that the entire time. So you're going to hear that come up of why Sean didn't push back really hard. But I guess without further ado, let's get right into it. I'll stop it along the way. We'll talk about it as we go. Let's do it. Oh, and yeah, I think I said it, but if you guys want to watch the full thing, you can wait till it comes out on YouTube, or you can pay and be a paying member of Sean Ryan's Patreon.
And Harpole one, which I'm being sued because of your show. You know,
This is my show.
Yeah, you know, I should sue you. Brian
You and everybody
Harpole's
else.
lawyer. I'm gonna drag you into my lawsuit.
We have a running every time the FedEx truck drives around here. We're like, oh fuck, here it comes. I don't even open them anymore. I just send them to.
So funny.
Tim.
Yeah, you know, yeah. Well, when Brian Harpole sued me, his lawyer wrote this amazing story, which was just made entirely no sense, where he said that the reason. Basically, they were trying to make the argument that he's not a public figure, which is very important. You have to establish in defamation, are you a public figure or are you a private person? And obviously, he made himself a public figure by going on this podcast and interjecting himself into this Charlie narrative. So they were trying to argue that he's not a public figure. And he basically said he was forced to become a public figure because of me. I'm the reason he had to go on the Sean Ryan show to clear his name. And I never covered him on my show once, never spoke his name on my show before he went on your show, because it was.
So hold on, he's claiming he came here because to counter your narrative.
Yeah.
But you weren't talking about him.
Never said one word about
before.
him or the security apparatus, because I knew them and my mind just wasn't there at all.
So that's actually not entirely true. Early on, she actually said that because people were already questioning the security team because of Dan Flood's, signal and Frank Turek's signal and Brian Harpole's weird thing, and then them not rendering aid to Charlie right after. On one of her shows, she actually defended the security team early on and was like, I know them. They're good people. They cared about Charlie. She actually said she was positive that they weren't involved. So that's the only thing she said prior to Brian going on the Sean Ryan show. She actually kind of defended them early on. But she never said anything negative prior to Brian going on the Sean Ryan show. Okay. And yes, I agree. Sean made him feel comfortable and made him have a safe space to talk more. And yes, Sean will say that Brian was crying. It might have not been he tears up a couple times on the Sean Ryan interview with him. But it seems like there was more tears that weren't captured on camera, because you'll hear what he says. All right.
Until he did your interview, and it was so disastrous in my view.
Yep.
And I think also the view of all the people who watched it, according to the comments, there was just something off about it. And I went, whoa, he's answering questions weird. The stuff that he's saying doesn't really make sense. But that's their argument they're trying to make, because they're trying to get the court to see him as a private figure who only had to come out and do the Sean Ryan show, one of the biggest podcasts in the world, defend himself against me. And I'm like, well, that's going to be a tricky argument, considering I never spoke about you ever on my show until you did the Sean Ryan
So wait a minute,
show.
what exactly? What?
It's crazy.
What is he suing you for?
Defamation, which is difficult for me to comprehend, because it's so in the category of opinion. Like the first 3 pages of a lawsuit, he's just kind of calling me an anti-Semite, and I don't know what that has to do with the lawsuit at all. He's not Jewish, last I checked. Neither is Charlie Kirk. But he then moves on by saying that I defamed him because I said that the security team was incompetent.
Which they were.
And so he's blaming me for a loss of revenue to his business because I said he's incompetent. Now, I would generally say if you have a business and your job is to provide security and your client dies on the job, that might be the reason you're not getting many clients. I'm not saying I'm a genius, but I don't think people will be lining up to hire the same security people that guarded Charlie Kirk on September 10th. But he thinks it's actually because of me calling him, among many other things, calling him incompetent, asking questions about why they didn't have people on the rooftop that day, saying that like the support they supplied to Charlie's neck was inadequate. I mean, just things that you can see with your own eyes as they're handing him to the car, as they're like holding him to the car, him saying on your show that they didn't provide CPR because he had to stop the bleeding. I have questions about that. If your heart stops, what's it matter if you stop the bleeding? So I'm going to stand by my assessment that he was incompetent. And then the second chunk of his lawsuit is his saying that I guess defamation per se might be his argument, because I asked about whether he was at Fort Huachuca because somebody believes they saw him at Fort Huachuca on the 9th. But he admits in a lawsuit that I texted him 4 times, asking him just to say yes or no, so I could just, very quickly say, "Oh, I've reached out to him. He said it wasn't him." But his reason for why he didn't answer me, despite me trying to just get an answer, and why he decided to just instead sue me, was because what was his bizarre legal reason for why he just didn't answer any of my questions?
While she thinks of that, I want to say one thing real quick. And just so you guys know, I do have to be careful. I have to play by the rules. I can't let it play like super long. I'm going to try to let it play as long as I can without interrupting. Okay. I just don't want to get shut down during the live. If you ever had doubts about Candace Owens, in my opinion, watching this live, this is a non-scripted interview. This was filmed live. Okay. Maybe they edited parts out. Usually Patreon, they upload the full thing. And it gets cut down and edited for YouTube because YouTube is a little bit more strict on like certain things that they can say and can't say. But what this to me shows, as I think she already was, she's 100% authentic and genuine. She loves and cares for Charlie still to this day. She was tremendously negatively impacted by Charlie's assassination. And this is her just being authentic and honest. And none of this is scripted. And so people that have critiques about her, I think, are sadly mistaken. I think that they are way off base. And with their limited perspective of her, they jump to conclusions as to motive and intent of why she's covered things and not covered other things. Look, we can all judge from our perspective, but no one's been in her shoes. We don't know what she's seen. We don't know what she knows. She's being strategic. She's been through many lawsuits, many battles with major companies and organizations. And I think more than anything, she doesn't want anyone to get away with this. And she's being extremely strategic. So this show, in my opinion, made me fall like more in love with her character, like the type of person she is. So that's just my 2 cents.
I think he said because, he didn't want me to get famous off of him. I promise you this is his argument, is that the reason he didn't answer—
He didn't want you to get famous off of him.
That I was just going to use it for clicks. So if he had answered me and said, no, I wasn't at Fort Huachuca, then I would have used it for clicks. And he didn't want me to use him for clicks. So that is the thrust of the lawsuit.
So what does he want? Is he suing you for money?
I think, he wants money, and to be determined by a jury because his business has been affected.
So this shit's actually going to court.
Oh, yeah. Which I'm really okay with, because a lot of the questions that we're just trying to get answered, we can now force him to answer them and bring other people in too to sit down for deposition. So
do you have a court date?
Not yet, because we still have to, actually, don't quote me on that. I have to check in with my lawyers. We might have I think we have something coming up where we have to file our response like the next coming weeks or something.
Where will it happen?
Here
in Nashville?
Yeah.
Yep. They filed it in Nashville.
Yeah, he's got to sue me here. This is where I defamed him, apparently. So I didn't know. Did he tell you he was really felt like he had to do the show because of me? It's very strange.
I didn't get that.
Yeah, it would have been weird because I never talked about him. So, hey, can I come on because of Candace not talking about me? It's weird. It's totally wacky. It feels like a PR move to me, to be honest with you. But
you think it'll go the distance, or you think they'll just drop suit?
I think they filed it in such a sloppy manner that they're hoping the court drops it. Yeah. And then they can say, well, we tried, we were telling the truth. And there is a lot of that in the court system where people file for PR reasons. I mean, Brigitte is a perfect example of that, where you're doing something that you kind of know you can't win in court, but it allows you to then say, well, we really tried. And obviously we must have been telling the truth or we wouldn't have sued. And that's not the case. I have not changed my mind about Brian Harpole. And I was very thorough in trying to just get him to give me a response. Like I would have happily taken a response from him, and he still hasn't offered one. He just sued me.
Do they have any other clients?
I don't know. He hasn't, since it was just the initial filing, we haven't gotten into the details of who's not booking him or if someone dropped him. But that would just, to me, seem like common sense, especially when you say I mean, if you watched his interview with you, you wouldn't book him.
No.
You know, it's just the presentation.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
No.
What did the defamation do? Is he still working for TPSU?
He's not. My understanding.
TPUSA. I mean, guys, honestly, do you really think his lack of being able to find a new contract with a new person to protect is because she did and said anything? Or do you think that it's because the whole purpose of his job is to keep his person alive? And one of the most public people that they ever protected, actually, it was their first contract. They underbid the previous company, the Schaefer Security Group, and that's who Dan Flood and Brian Harple used to work for. They left that company, started their own company, Integrity Security Solutions, underbid them for the contract, basically stole it from the previous country, Schaefer. And then Charlie and TPUSA is their first client, and Charlie gets assassinated while they're on the job. I would say no one's ever going to hire him ever again. And it has nothing to do with Candace. That's just the nature of the business, bro. Your job is to keep someone alive, and you didn't do it. So no one's going to trust you.
Thing is, he's not still working for Turning Point USA. And I did hear through the grapevine that they sent him a cease and desist after all of the flack that he got for his various appearances, things that he was saying that was just making things worse because he doesn't sound honest when he speaks. He's not clear. And he's also dishonest. I mean, he said, even when I was watching your show, and that was one of the reasons we covered it, was because we instantly learned he presented those messages when you asked him about the rooftop.
Yep.
He shows these messages, and then he says, what am I supposed to do with that? You know, the implication being that this was a conversation he was having.
Chief Long.
But it wasn't. He was showing you Dan Flood's text messages.
Yeah.
So that was strange and dishonest. And yeah.
What you're going to see throughout this interview is that Sean Ryan, he's a busy man. All right. And I'm not making excuses for him. He is not as tapped into this investigation as all of us. All right. His whole, like, he interviews so many different people from so many different walks of life on so many different topics multiple times a week. He doesn't have, and he's got a wife and he has kids. He has other companies that he's running. He doesn't have time to dive deeply just into the Charlie Kirk assassination. He probably could, and he probably could interview a lot of interesting people, but he hasn't chose to. So what you're going to see and hear is that he actually doesn't know a lot. And so when he interviewed Brian Harple, that was back last year. He knew even less back then. He knows practically nothing. You'll see him ask like questions that you and I know the answer to, you know? And it just goes to show you he doesn't know a lot about it. So, and I think the same thing could be said for like Tucker and Megyn Kelly.
They were also, the discussion wasn't even about Losi Center. The discussion was about the walkway above the Charlie.
Hall of Flags.
So it seemed like even when he was on the show, he was focused on PR, but he just wasn't very convincing. And that's literally in a lawsuit that I described him as not very convincing, and that's defamatory.
He's not.
That's defamatory.
And I stand by it. He wasn't very convincing.
Yeah, I probably should have pressed him more. I fucking felt bad though. I mean, it was still really fresh, and the guy's tearing. I've been around a lot of loss, you know, in my previous career, and so I wanted to be respectful.
See,
you know what I mean? But
yeah, I think you did the right thing, actually, because even though the viewers might feel frustration, the reality is that if you had put him under the light, so to speak, he would have clammed up.
Mm-hmm.
And we benefited a lot from him just speaking. I'm still benefiting from him just speaking in other parts of that conversation that are being pulled and discussed. Certainly from a lawsuit's sake, it's beneficial that he kept describing things in detail. So I think it was good to sort of let him talk.
Yes.
What are some of the other gems that you pulled out of my interview with Brian Harple?
I mean,
a lot.
There's, I think at some point, I think it was your interview, it might have been someone else's, where he... This
is awesome. I love Candace, dude. So she's not going to ever mention, I'm not even going to do it for him either, blah, 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 his name, but also doesn't mention the redheaded giant. She doesn't mention him at all. She just goes, he probably did it on someone else's show. Somebody else's interview. I mean, maybe if she names him after the 120 mark that I haven't made it past yet. Okay. But up until that point, she never mentions, that guy, the red hair Kandahar giant moron.
Said that when he got to the hospital and he's like directing the staff or whatever, and he like said that he cut off Charlie's shirt. I mean, that's fantasy. That's full fantasy. That's not how that happened. Everybody knows that. When you get to the ER and somebody is on a stretcher, some random guy who's bringing the person in doesn't start calling the shots in the hospital. So there's a lot of questions about what took place at the hospital, why Kash Patel moved to have the cameras as one of the first acts is to get the cameras down inside of the hospital. It's very strange.
Super strange.
The varying stories that they've all told about what took place, why they were all then wearing scrubs. Frank Turek saying that he was on the phone the whole time and didn't realize with his
son.
Who's Frank Turek?
Frank Turek was another one of the people that was in the car.
Okay.
And he's former military. He was there and jumped in the car with them. By the way, that's even weird. I don't know why he jumped in the car with him, to be honest with you.
Didn't.
And he was at the hospital and he tells conflicting stories and says that they did perform CPR. It's all just very strange. It just seems like something. Why are all of your stories running into each other?
How are those running into each other? What did they say?
Well,
some people are saying they did give them CPR. Some are saying they didn't.
Brian said they did not perform CPR.
Correct.
Because they were focused on stopping the bleeding. Frank said that they did perform CPR. Brian said that Frank was just in the back seat praying. Frank said that he got involved, which is the reason why he had all the blood on him or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the discrepancy between the people that are in the car doesn't really make sense.
I mean, I don't know. Do you give CPR to somebody that's been shot in the fucking neck?
Well, if you don't keep someone's heart going, it doesn't matter, right? Like nothing else matters if your heart stops pumping. So yeah, you would give CPR. I would imagine you keep CPR going at all times. I'm certainly not a medical professional, but I do know that like if your heart stops, you're dead. So you got to keep the heart going.
Agreed. And
them not having the ambulance on standby.
I'm not standing up for him. I don't know if you would do CPR.
What would be the point of, if your heart's not going, your heart's not going. And I'm not even saying, and by the way, I'm not even saying that what was right or what was wrong to do.
Saying the stories are
I'm saying the stories are not consistent.
Correct.
And that's what has been so troublesome for people that are investigating this. It's why do you guys all have different stories? Why are there so many lies that have since been unpacked? And initially they said a lot in the beginning and they've since, pivoted on their stories quite a bit.
Why do you think that they repaved that thing? How many days afterwards?
Because by Sunday, they had the person coming on a Sunday. So Charlie got shot at 12:23 on a Wednesday, and they had early morning on Sunday pavers come in. And even before then, they had the soil removed by a separate group of people.
They had the soil removed?
The soil removed first, 10 inches of soil removed.
So this is what I mean, you guys. Sean doesn't know the ins and outs of this whole thing. Okay. And I think that just goes to show you, like, he would have had no idea to decipher BS from non-BS. At the time when he interviewed Brian, this was like back in October. He would have seen a couple videos. That's all he really knew. Also, the reason why they removed 10 inches of soil, because if it's PETN, Petin, or the C4, it's toxic and it could cause seizures and other issues, but also because they had to get rid of every trace element of any explosive that was used there that day and any pieces, microscopic pieces of the road mic. Okay.
First.
Do they do that at any other murder scene? Anywhere?
Absolutely not.
The soil removed? Why the fuck would they have the soil?
Well, their excuse is we were putting down pavers. So it is normal to remove soil to put down pavers. But why were you putting down pavers? Why were you paving over the crime scene? And in that scenario, I think you normally do from somebody that is in that space said that about 8 inches you would remove so that you can install the pavers. They removed 10 inches of soil and they had 2 separate people do it. So they had people working for the government that removed the 10 inches of soil. And then the next day, the pavers came in and put in the pavers. That's not normal. You have the same group of people that do both. So they had the dirt removed first. And so we'd have to imagine that happened Saturday at the latest, right? And
think about it, you guys. They had to have a professional, probably, I don't know what crew did remove. That's the evidence, okay? The evidence is in the removing of the dirt and the sod that was on the field that day. They probably had, I don't know, crime scene federal agents come and do that, like actual professional expertise in that area to make sure all of it's gone, nothing is left behind. And then they have this civilian local LDS, landscape company come and put down the pavers.
And because then by Sunday morning, the guy who had to put together a ragtag team to do the paving, he did an interview and spoke about it and said he was told that the instructions were coming down from the governor of Utah and Kash Patel's office.
Yep. Governor Koch.
Probably
What do you think would have been in the soil?
I've taken a long time to get to a place where I wanted to put forth a theory on what happened that day. I think there is a lot of evidence that they would have found explosives, which if I guess the way PETN is said is like, what do you guys say?
Petten.
I'm trying to learn all of the inside terms and sound like I know what I'm talking about on all the military guy stuff. But if Petten was the explosive that was used, and I think there is a strong theory that should be explored, that a shaped charge was used to kill him and that what killed him was on him. If you look into Petten, it is pretty resistant. It stays on soil. There you can read tons of articles about it. You just have to remove the soil.
So you think that
I think there was explosives. I think that explains, as I was unpacking on my show, a lot of the holes in the story that didn't make sense. If you run the theory that he was killed with a Petten shaped charge, then they all suddenly start to make sense.
Yeah.
Why they wouldn't bring the bomb dogs over to where Charlie died.
See, I can't remember what his name is, but my editor, you were just chatting with him. He brought it to my attention. He was chatting with this guy right after it happened. So I guess almost a year ago. And once I just never know what to, so many fucking people are trying to get clicks and shit. You know what I mean? That I'm like, I don't think it adds up. And he would describe, how it was going to work or how it was supposedly worked. And yeah, it was shaped charge inside the microphone, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they had all these videos that show the blast and everything, but I don't know what's AI and what isn't. I don't fucking believe anything unless it's literally right in front of my face. Then I still don't believe most of it. But to have the thing that really got me was to have a microphone on a loose shirt when he's up in a chair, like moving around. It just
mic on the inside, by the way.
Yeah.
Mic on the inside.
Yeah, the mic is on the microphone, which is totally senseless.
Wait, was it taped to his chest?
What you see on the outside is the magnet that's holding the mic that's on the inside. Which, like any person who mics you knows, you don't put the mic on the inside because you get the sound
of the shirt.
And they were putting it on the inside. Like you might do that if it's a super windy day or cold day to avoid the wind.
I thought it was that fucking new DJI mic that everybody's using.
No, it's a Rode mic Pro. So that's just the metal. That's just the magnetic clasp that's on the outside.
They put it on the inside.
Which they started doing. It was a new thing. It was just a new thing that they were doing. And so
how long have you been tracking this?
How long had I been tracking?
Microphone thing.
I always try to approach things with just, what do I observe with my own eyes? And when I brought myself to being able to watch the footage of Charlie dying, the first thing I thought was that he was shot from below. Because I watched his shirt go out and I watched the friction of his body, and I saw that his necklace broke before he was hit.
Yep.
I always thought that was so strange. I was like, somebody explain to me why if someone shot him from above, his necklace would break first and whip this way, because necklace whips this way, and then he gets hit. And then and I was like, so I just, in my head, and I was assuming that it was a gun, was like, I think someone was under him. Like, that's the only thing that would explain his shirt doing whatever. And then I saw John Bray, who you're referring to.
Oh, John.
He was online and he was talking about this explosive. And I saw that and I was like, in my head with my limited knowledge on what he was speaking about, I went, oh, well, it's not going to be explosive, because then if it was a bomb, Charlie would have been burned and charred. And I knew that his body was not burned and charred. And so I kept following him. And what happened was we got exclusively the car photos, and the car that transported Charlie to the hospital, what that car looked like, which they tried very quickly to get rid of that car. They took.
What I meant, oh my goodness, what I meant by sort of is, remember, we do see when they take him, when they're carrying him off, and the videos that they just released right before this was filmed and aired, Baron and Candace both released photos of Charlie's body underneath. There is what could be, there's definitely a lot of blood, but there looks to be like abrasions and possible burns around what is like a square rectangle patch underneath his right pectoral muscle on the upper right part of his rib cage. So it definitely does look like there was some kind of damage done to the skin underneath the shirt because of something that exploded. A bullet doesn't do that. A bullet up here doesn't do that. Nothing, you can't explain that with a bullet from anywhere, even not a 30-06. Those other theories saying it was a different bullet, it was from a different location somewhere else. Explain everything that happened under the shirt. You just, I don't know, you can't. In my opinion, you can't.
It, had it sent for like to be cleaned and resold, which is also an absolute nonsense. That car would have been put into evidence.
Yeah.
But when I saw the car pics, first thing I said was, oh, that's so weird. Like, well, why is there black glass on the floor? Right away, just like a ton of like black, what looked to my eye as glass shards on the floor. And John Bray messaged me and he said on X, he said, I just watched your episode. That's exactly what I was looking for to support my theory. And then I said, what do you mean? He said, I've been saying that his road mic was rigged, but in order for my theory to be true, the road mic would have had to explode into a million pieces, and that would have been on Charlie, and they would have had to get that off of him in the car. And so I went, well, I have the car photos, and there's very clearly, now to play devil's advocate, as I always try to do, it could have been somebody's sunglasses they stepped on that broke into a million. It's a lot of glass. It's in the seat that Charlie was on. It's behind. It's, I mean, hard plastic, 80, I think it's called ABS plastic.
ABS plastic, yeah.
And if you watch videos, people just smashing a road mic, that's exactly what it looks like, is littered all over the floor. So now we have to say, why did his necklace break first?
Sure.
Then his road mic break second, and we're looking at a trajectory, right, before he gets hit. And you do see it move across, like if you watch the video again, without trying to be an expert, if you just sometimes look at a video and say, what do you see? Slow it down. What do you observe happening?
Yeah.
And that is what you observe. You observe something moving across his chest, and then suddenly you see a wound here. And that was my starting point. And so I never bought the idea that he was on, somebody shot him from a lousy rooftop. That made no sense to me. That nobody saw him shoot him is even crazier to me. This is a college campus in the middle of the day. Somebody would have seen him take a shot. And so then what added to me thinking this is now very plausible was the 30-06 super neck.
Yeah. Listen to this.
Superman neck, you know, now you're asking us to be idiots.
Mm-hmm.
Now the demand is for us to be idiots. And they did it in such an emotionally manipulative, despicable way, which has now become the turning point way, which is to just say God, the Lord, the miracle, and if you don't believe in it, then you don't believe in God, and you're not honoring God if you don't believe in the miracle of this. This was the biggest lie that Erica told me and completely transformed my opinion of her. I think, I sat down with her for 4 hours. I was reticent to explore any conspiracies about her. I was slow to do it because, first and foremost, she's the mother of Charlie's kids.
Yeah. And okay, as certain things come up too, I'm going to show you guys, because they don't like play certain things, but like when they talk about a video, I'll show you what video it is so that we have the reference for it. One thing also keep in mind, that there is software and stuff out there. Like, I don't know if Python is one, or like, I don't know the name of them. Right. But we know from Tucker Carlson that they have the ability to look at our text messages, our emails, everything on our phone. Imagine if Erica always was some kind of plant from the beginning. You're going to hear some very interesting things coming up from Candace, okay? And she went back and reread when Charlie was assassinated. Candace goes away to Wyoming and she rereads all the text messages from Charlie, okay, between them over the years. What you find out was Charlie was desperate to fall in love. And I'm going to try not to get choked up. He was desperate to fall in love and to have a wife and to have kids. He felt that it makes men better. And he's correct. It really does. It puts you on a totally different trajectory when you're not just living for yourself anymore. You know, I mean, it doesn't do that to all men, but to the good ones. Okay. If he's texting her things about very specific things, you're going to hear Candace say it was very poetic. They could have had access to the most personal details of Charlie's dreams, hopes, imaginations for the wife of his future, the future wife that he would want to be with. They literally could have been planning this for a long time and been prepping Erica for a long time, feeding her information directly from Charlie's heart and mind through text messages and emails and other things that he's got on his phone, maybe a notepad that he's taking, the notes app in your phone. And they could have been feeding her everything. And she could have known the most intimate things about himself that he shared with Candace and other people close to him. So I think it's more than plausible how she could have conned him. We look at her now and we go like, how the heck could Charlie have fallen for her? Okay. One-on-one, she could have prepared for one-on-one manipulation, right? She's not good on the masses thing, but one-on-one, she could have done it. Okay.
That's first and foremost. Secondly, it required me to have to go through a second stage of grief that I was not ready to do. I had a very hard time with Charlie's death, still do. But to be the person that Charlie was speaking to so much about how much he wanted love, to when I had to take time off and just go to Wyoming and try to get my head right after it, I read through all of our messages, and so I relived it all. And because I was in a phase of denial. I was really at that phase where I was hoping, and I went through bargaining, I went through anger, I went through a very aggressive stage of denial. And I think my husband was realizing that I needed to get away at that point because I was trying to say like, no, maybe he's really alive. Maybe they put him in witness protection. Like that's that bargaining.
Yep. And denial.
And then also the denial that's just in my face. And when I got out there and I was reading the messages and before she came into his life, and Charlie just really, really, really wanted love, right? That was like it. And it was almost like poetic, the stuff that he was writing about how love could kind of make men move mountains.
Yeah.
And so for me to have to mourn him and then have to consider that the thing that he wanted most, like he didn't get, it just gutted me. It gutted me. And so, but I couldn't deny it anymore. I couldn't deny it. And it was beyond intuition. It was beyond her being weird. It was beyond her being at the office. And then I got the Zoom calls. My assumption was that she was grieving like I was. And my assumption, I didn't know she was in the office the next week. As soon as she got back, she just went straight to the office. And
she was in the office the next week.
Yep,
right
as
away.
soon as she gave that speech at the podium that you saw, where she addressed the nation, not the I forgive him speech, but like the first one that was like 48 hours after he died. Yep. She was in the office that whole week.
The one in the white suit.
Dude, I'll be honest. I tuned when I saw the funeral,
the memorial.
Is that what we're calling it?
Like,
that's what's weird. A lot of people call it the funeral, but he meant the memorial, where she forgave him, right? Forgave Tyler. The other thing too is I was getting choked up because it's really sad. Any man that has a wife and kids like understands, and I'm a father of girls, it changes you. It just does. And it's so sad. This was also like having been raised without a father and never experienced that myself, like being married and having kids and being a father was always like really important to me. And it looks, Charlie obviously had a father, but it was very important to him. And it looks like that deep God-given desire was manipulated and taken advantage of by these people like Erica and Tyler Boyer and Terrell Farnsworth and all them.
Just in Instagram stories or whatever it was of her like rubbing his dead body, I was like, what the fuck is this, dude?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yep.
And then you're using your dead husband as a fucking social media post.
Yeah, it was gross. So bad.
And beyond that, and again, me ignoring all of it. And then it was just, actually, on the day that your husband gets shot, you didn't have a single one of your family members go with you?
Nope, just Stacey Sheridan.
One family member or friend went with Erica to Utah.
Nope.
Wow.
Donation.
She went with the person that's holding her in the photo when his body's coming off Air Force One. Could you imagine not having your mom, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your best friend, I don't know, like your A1 since day one from high school with you when that goes down? No, she was every single one of those videos, she's with the head fundraiser of Turning Point USA.
Yeah.
The person holding her, hugging her, crying. That's Stacey Sheridan. She's a chief fundraiser. Stacey Sheridan is the one recording her while she's in the casket. No one can make that make sense. You cannot tell me 1,000 times that you would not have a family member, a cousin, a brother, somebody other than just all Turning Point people. And mind you, the vice president is offering to fly over whoever you want. So this isn't like, we couldn't get to Utah. Like your family will crawl over glass to get to you. You go through something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't have anybody, not her aunts, nobody, just Stacey Sheridan recording all of those private moments. And again, those were the things, I think I just assumed that her family was there. I assumed because Charlie's family was there. His sister was there. His mother was there. His brother was there. His mother and father were there.
Yeah, let's look at that real quick. Here. Pause. Okay. Right. And what you're going to see also is the lack of emotional support that Erica gives Charlie's parents and vice versa. There's this huge gap in between Erica, Stacey Sheridan, huge gap, and then Charlie's family. And the same thing happened when Erica went to receive that the Medal of Freedom on behalf of Charlie. I've never seen a video of them consoling one another, and that's always been strange to me. But here's the tarmac video. Watch it. Hold on. Let me get to the part where we can see Erica. There she is. Okay. Right here, Stacey Sheridan's in back. And then there's like a couple feet in between Charlie's mom and dad and her.
She just had Mama Stacey, as I call it, which is the woman who's all about raising money.
Yep.
And when did you guys get so close?
Yep.
You don't need anybody else for emotional support here.
So weird.
And so you're correct. That was intentionally recorded for us to raise money at the end of the day. But the lie that she told that I couldn't get over was when she lied about the 30 yacht 6.
And we're going to get to that. I just got to, let me do the super chat real quick. Duchess of Camelot, thank you for your support. New subscriber here. Thank you for sharing this video with us. 100%. It's really important. Also, I cannot show the casket scene that they were talking about with Stacey Sheridan and Erica Kirk. When I did show that months ago, that whole video got pulled down. They won't even let it be up here on YouTube. And yeah, it's bad. But think of it this way. Grieving Widow is doing this casket scene. Open casket. No, they don't show his face, but it's still it's so gross. It's so morbid. You don't film that scene. That's a private scene. It's an intimate scene. You don't do that. Stacey Sheridan's right behind Erica with the phone. Okay, you're going to tell me that Stacey did that without asking permission? No way. Okay, what? Then she posted it and Erica didn't tell her to take it down? No way. That whole thing was done to manipulate the public to have like empathy, compassion, and be moved to donate to Erica and TPUSA. It was strategic, and Erica made it happen. Okay, there's no way she didn't know that was happening. Okay.
And
What did she lie about that? What did she say?
So what we thought happened, and this is, I think I single-handedly ruined the plan, so to speak. But what happened was my eyes when I was watching the event, as someone who had gone on tour with Charlie every single year since 2018, 2017, so 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, up until 2024, which is the first time they started doing this double mic thing on him, right? The fall of 2024, as I'm going, why is Terrell there?
Okay, and that's actually true, you guys. Two things I need to point out real quick. Please, we got 1,841 people here. We have 400 likes. Please do me a favor and hit the like. That's the last time I'll say that until the end. Thank you for doing so. Secondly, oh my gosh, I just lost what it was that she was talking about. All right, sorry.
First thing I drew my eye was like, why is the head of audiovisual here? He doesn't come on campus events. This is new. And then I see that he's taking the camera down. And I'm like, that's weird. And the internet's going crazy about this. So I'm like, well, Terrell's been there for 12 years, maybe longer. I know, I'm just going to call him and ask him what's up. Like, maybe there's a reason. Maybe, and I assumed he was going to say something like, you know, the police asked me to. I don't know. You want to see the footage? Instead, he was the first person that made me realize something was very wrong because he was very nervous on the phone. I asked him if I could see the back footage just to like clarify.
Okay, with two things. I find out tonight that Terrell's been working at TPUSA for 12 years at the time of the assassination. So him and Tyler Boyer and their families are deeply connected to like LDS, like royalty, you know, and Arizonian, you know, we're 7th generation Arizonians. Like we go way back, like we're so important people. And then the mic going on the inside of the shirt started in 2024 after they made Candace disappear. Because if you remember, there was a manufactured incident where Candace was called and told that Charlie was going to accept donor money from someone that she didn't approve of, and she questions him on it. They run into each other in passing in a elevator. She questions him on it, and he lies. And that created this rift between them, which was the perfect rift to isolate, control someone. You got to get people out of the orbit. And that's when, ironically, sadly, they started putting the mic on the inside of the shirt.
People like looking out for you, Terrell. I can tell them what's going on. And his energy was just completely wrong. He came up with a million excuses why I couldn't see the back footage. He told me he didn't know how to send a file. I'm like, Terrell, you run an audiovisual company. You know how to send a file. Then he told me, oh yeah, I do know how to send a file, but I really didn't. I'm afraid Google's going to hack me if I send it. And I said, Google's going to hack you if you send me the file of the back footage.
So stupid.
And I didn't accept that, obviously.
Good.
And then he said, well, I grabbed the camera for Erica so that she wouldn't have to relive her husband dying over and over again. And I said, his death was live streamed.
Yeah.
Everyone saw Charlie die.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The back footage is not like, that's not going to be anything. So I knew something was wrong with the back footage.
Yeah.
And I kept pressing him for 2 days. And finally he said, well, I'll FaceTime you and show you it. And I hit record on the face. I just didn't know, but just my instincts. And someone on my team was like, you should record this. And I recorded it. And the first thing I thought that was so strange was there was no blood. The bullet didn't go through. There was no blood. Charlie's shirt was crisp white from the moment he went down. And I went, that's odd. So I, at that moment, recorded it, had it, hung up with him, told my audience what I saw. And there was apparently mass panic, which I now know how the full story went. This was the day of Charlie's actual funeral, not the WWE memorial event, but the actual funeral, which was the night before. And they panicked that I had seen the footage. And somebody at the FBI called Turning Point and asked explicitly to Justin Strife whether or not I had recorded it.
What?
At that point, Justin Strife, who is the COO of Turning Point USA, messaged my husband, called my husband, and wanted to know whether or not I had recorded it. My husband has no idea what he's talking about. He's not. He's like he runs the business. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. He then comes out to me. He's like, Justin Strife keeps asking if you recorded this footage. What's he talking about? And instantly in my mind, I said, that's a really weird question. Why does it matter? Why does it matter if I recorded the footage?
And okay, so guys, look, I don't have the email pulled up right now, but Charlie sent an email, a company-wide email on September 3rd, 2025, just 7 days before his assassination, where he officially names Justin Strife as COO of Turning Point USA, empowering him with specific, duties and powers, empowering him to do 4 things. One is to engage in a Doge-style effort, audit, in my opinion, but remember, people got a defamation, cease and desist letter for calling it an audit, but a Doge-style effort. And then one of the other things was to reshape company culture. It was also to know where money's coming from, where it's going. There were 4 bullet points, but the 2 that I remember is the first and the fourth. Charlie, I think, was strategic in sending that out. It's a paper trail. Okay. It's proof that Charlie was concerned and worried about some of the finances and other things within the company. Okay. And he appoints Justin Strife, which led me to believe Charlie either trusted him or he knew that if something happened to him, Justin and Erica would not follow through with that. That email would come out and that would show suspicion, right? Charlie sent this as his dying, one of his last things that he did as CEO of Turning Point. And they never do it. They never do the audit, the Doge-style effort. They don't reshape company culture, not in the way that Charlie was talking. They don't find out where the money's going and the money's coming from. They don't do any of that. Now we find out that Justin Strife, on the day of the funeral, gets tasked with reaching out to George Farmer, Candace's husband, to then, be the middleman and ask Candace, did she film that? Why would you want to know that? Well, it proves that the 30-06 theory is complete BS, because a 30-06 would go through and through. It would have done so many negative things. It would have been really bad, but it proves that he wasn't shot with a 30-06, and they knew that, and they freaked out when they found out she might have filmed it.
And I said, don't answer him. I'll deal with it. And then what happened, this is all happening on the day of Charlie's actual funeral. No one should be caring about back footage, anything. Why is the FBI calling? What then happened was Erica peeled off from Charlie's actual funeral, his wife, and she called the surgeon with Andrew Kolvet on the phone, a 3-way call. And the story that Andrew would then write, because then he tweeted on the day of Charlie's funeral and said, people want to know why there was, no blood. And then the surgeon says that it was a miracle. And you remember this ridiculous tweet. Charlie ate really healthy, and normally it would have taken down a moose, but he really was the man of steel. And this is like a modern day Christian miracle. I mean, total slop for the masses. Yep. And everyone then went, what the F? It didn't go through. Like, you're confirming this didn't go through. Something's wrong here, right? When I asked Erica about this, and I didn't know about this thing that happened at the funeral, I asked her, why did Andrew send this tweet? And she said to me, he went rogue. I didn't know he sent the tweet. I said, Andrew went rogue. And she said, called the surgeon. I said, the surgeon spoke to Andrew without your permission? And she said, yeah. I said, so the surgeon to the highest profile assassination
breaks HIPAA
since JFK, violated HIPAA, went rogue, spoke to some random PR guy he doesn't know, who also went rogue.
So dumb.
And then at the conclusion of this conversation, Andrew tweeted something without your permission and went rogue again. And she said, yeah.
That's evil.
And then I got the information that she completely lied.
How'd you figure that out?
A source.
Good.
That she was the one who initiated the phone call and Andrew was on it, and that the surgeon never said that, what was put on online. In fact, that's largely embarrassing to a surgeon, because you're saying he violated HIPAA, right? And he's an idiot.
Yep.
Like, he's an idiot.
Yep.
Like, it's a modern day miracle. Not only that, but it's not the surgeon's job. So what happened was, she said to the surgeon, allegedly, how can we explain to people that the 30-06 didn't go through? And the surgeon doesn't know anything about whether Sir had 6. He is a hunter. He hunts. And he said, I don't know. Like, maybe it was a frangible bullet or something. I have no idea. And he's going off of them saying it was a 30-06. And at that point, Erica offered an explanation. And she said, well, my baby, he ate so healthy. And I'm sure it's like he had a Man of Steel neck because he ate so healthy.
So wasn't there a picture of Robinson standing at a Dairy Queen right in front of a poster that said Man of Steel?
Yeah, which actually was in theaters. And so that was like weird. But Erica is that quotation and that explanation came from Erica as she was trying to pull an excuse out of the surgeon, which somehow got elevated to the #1 priority on the day of her husband's actual funeral. They were stressed out that the public had learned that the bullet didn't go through. Why would you be stressed out about that?
I would be mourning my wife or who my significant other.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
trying.
So
to
what do
work
you
out.
what do you think is going on? I mean, who is Tyler Robinson? What the fuck was he doing there? Who do you think is behind this?
I don't
Do you
think Tyler Robinson was there.
You don't think he was there?
No.
I think he's a total patsy. I think they get lookalikes and they get everybody wearing the same outfit. I think he played a role, and I believe that what he did was he picked up clothes and he dumped them behind the Dairy Queen. I think he had a role, but I do not believe that Tyler Robinson is the person who was walking in that staircase. I do not believe the person.
Guys, I just did a poll. We have 2,292 people here. This would be a great sample size. Please, everyone, if you can, take the poll. The question is, what do you think was the cause? How was Charlie murdered, right? 30-06, road mic explosion, second shooter, electrocution. It only lets me do 4. So that's the most I could do. I was going to do a 5th and do like other, and then you guys could have put it in the chat, but it didn't let me do it. It lets you do 4. Okay, so please do that. It'll give us a good understanding. It's like, where is the public landing on a lot of this? I know where I'm landing, but I'll tell you what my vote was. I voted road mic explosion. I have no problem telling you my opinion. Oh, and while she's talking, I'm going to pull up some videos and photos that they're discussing right now.
Walking in the staircase was even the person that we saw running off of the roof. I don't even know what day that person was running off the roof because there's only one eyewitness to him having been on the roof, and the person who says that he saw him crouching low, the person that shared the video of the guy on the roof and was like, look up here. Somebody just got up there. I spoke to that individual. And he never saw a shot fired. Never said that he saw a shot fired. Knows about weapons.
This is the video she's talking about. Right here.
Getting right up.
Yeah. You think he'd already be in place?
It's a KSL. I have to take off the music that they got going on there. Let me make it bigger. So that person up there, this is the Losi Center. He said that right now he's saying he just came and ran over and then got in the prone position. That's all he said right there. Okay. That's the video she's talking about. The person filming that she spoke to, and that person has experience with weapons and said no shot that he could tell was fired, no sound, no muzzle flash, no recoil, nothing. And that the FBI and the authorities in Utah, no one's reached out to him about that video. Not even sure what day that was filmed.
And finds it really unusual that the prosecution hasn't reached out to him. So I don't know what happened. I just know what didn't happen. And I feel confident stating that Tyler Robinson did not murder Charlie Kirk, whether or not he was an accessory to the crime. Do I believe he was at Dairy Queen dropping off clothes? Yeah.
Yep.
How did he get mixed up in that? I don't know. Maybe he was blackmailed. Maybe he got involved in some weird stuff online. That's the easiest way for the feds to blackmail someone. I think his roommate is a federal asset, Lance Twiggs.
Yes.
The person.
Why do you think that?
Because the police didn't even question him. Which is
yeah. And real quick, let me show you guys this too. Okay, so I've read all the court documents. I've been following this like nonstop since September 10th. Tyler Robinson, the only time the court documents and that the state of Utah attorney's office says that they have him on camera is at 8:30 in the morning when he shows up and he parks his Dodge Charger or Challenger in a parking garage and then walks around campus, and he's wearing shorts, a maroon shirt, Converse, and a hat. And they say they have him clear as day, dead to rights, Tyler Robinson. He leaves. I don't think I agree with Candace. Tyler Robinson never came back on campus at all. I think the people walking through the neighborhood on the Ring doorbell camera, somebody else. The person that goes on top of the Losi Center, somebody else. The person jumping off, it might have been a different time, that prone shooter position. I don't know when the time was. Candace doesn't share that with us. If she asked the gentleman, like, was that on September 10th? What time did you film that? She doesn't share that. But she thinks she's going to share that. She thinks it's different people. And so I'll share this with you real quick. These are different images of the supposed Tyler, I call it Eagle Boy, right? Eagle Boy. This is an AI one. That's an enhanced one. So don't look at the ones that are super clear, but these other ones, it's not Tyler Robinson. It's Eagle Boy, somebody else.
Bonkers. Yeah. Lance Twiggs. I spoke to Lance Twiggs, his family, and they think he's involved, and they don't understand why the police just sat him down for a few hours and then let him go. And they said he's involved in a lot of bad stuff. He lived with them for a little bit, that he's into, weird categories of pornography as well.
Dang.
And so they were shocked that the police just had never had any interest in Lance Twiggs.
That's how you get a pat.
And he is crucial to the story that they're trying to tell, as the roommate. If you're dating, if they're in a gay relationship and you're dating him, you would have access to his guns. You would have access to, you could easily set up somebody that you're dating.
Towel.
And
screwdriver.
That's what my gut tells me, is Lance Twiggs was a federal asset.
Yep.
Is a federal asset.
I agree.
Shit. Who was the guy? Wasn't there a guy that said he did it? That was also at 9/11 or something?
See, Sean Ryan doesn't even know about Zinn, George Zinn. He doesn't know a lot about this case, okay?
Oh, I call him decoy boy number one, George Zinn.
What the fuck is that?
So George Zinn instantly gets up, says he did it, his pants fall, and people are recording him, and it creates, I guess, just a bit of a distraction. What I have on authority from the hospital that he went to after, he went to the hospital to get treated for some mild injuries, is that he told the nurses that he was paid to do it, but he didn't know where the money was coming from.
And this guy was also in New York when 9/11 happened.
I don't know if he was in New York, but he has some story about 9/11.
There's some weird connection.
Some very weird connection.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what it is. I can't remember, but
no, you're correct. But that's what he told the nurses that day, that he was paid to do that. But he didn't know who exactly was paying him, just that he was going to be paid for that.
do you think he was killed because he was going against Israel?
100%.
1000%.
Yep.
Why him?
1000%.
Lots. You go against Israel. Why not you?
Well,
Why are you still here?
Charlie was the golden boy. It's so different. It's so different. It's so different. Candace was already going max, and they could label her an anti-Semite and people would believe it. And that's what they've done. Okay. Because she had the whole thing with Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro. It's easy to write her off as crazy, insane, demonic, anti-Semitic. Charlie, you couldn't do any of that. Okay. You couldn't bribe him. You couldn't blackmail him. You can't just call him crazy. He's super intelligent, has great ethics, principled, Christian, honest. And he was one of the most pro-Israel Christian conservatives in the United States to date. Okay. That was balanced, not some of these other that are just so obviously Zionists that it's insane. But for him to flip, not to mention he had the sway of the next generation. He had influence and reach. He could get people to do things kinetically. He could actually motivate people to get out of their house and go do a thing like vote. That means he would be a threat to any future election where they want some pro-Israel person, like the person they got to beat Massey because TPUSA and Erica Kirk didn't endorse Massey, didn't back Massey after Charlie was assassinated. It proves, look at what they could do now that Charlie's gone. Massey didn't get elected. Next presidency, Who knows, right? Charlie's out of the way now. He can't talk about Israel. He can't talk about the war in Iran. He can't talk about any of that. And I have a clip. Brandon Tatum, stupid Tatum, lied. He put a post on X saying that Charlie was for this war in Iran. No. Brandon Tatum clipped Charlie out of context. I watched that whole episode, and I have the clips that if we get to it today, we'll watch it. If not, we'll watch it tomorrow. Charlie had turned completely. And for the chosen golden boy, Charlie, who is the most ardent supporter of them, it would have destroyed it. It would have destroyed it all. And he had all of these people at his fingertips that he could influence and get them to do things. There's no way they were going to take that chance.
I think if Andrew Kolvet is to be believed, he told me it was supposed to be me, which was an interesting thing to say.
What?
Yep.
Andrew Kolvet said to me a few days after the assassination, and at the moment I just took it as poorly expressed grief, because I didn't find Andrew to be suspicious because I just didn't, my mind wasn't there. But he said to me on the phone, it was supposed to be you, verbatim.
Are you serious?
But I thought that was just, he was crying. I was crying. I thought he just
legitimately
said
said it was supposed to be you.
It was supposed to be you. So I have questions about that now. Given everything that happened in the lead up to that, I think Charlie.
And he said that Candace and Tucker were on a list. They both were on a list, but he said that Candace was supposed to be the target, not Charlie, which is interesting.
I think Charlie knew something.
Yeah.
I think the biggest question that has not been answered in all of this is what happened at the Hamptons.
Yeah.
When Bibi Netanyahu called.
I don't know about this.
So it was a couple of weeks before Charlie died. Well, August 5th and 6th, he did a summit at Bill Ackman's house where, Bill Ackman was kind of hosting a bunch of pro-Israel people. And Charlie was pressed on his changing views. And he was pressed by Seth Dillon.
Who's evil.
Voices were raised. And he wanted to know why he's not, why you can't criticize Bibi Netanyahu and not be called anti-Semitic. There was a smaller dinner that took place, and Bill Ackman, Erica was present, and Bibi Netanyahu called. Now, what I was told directly from Andrew Kolvet, which Erica didn't know that my source was Andrew Kolvet on this. She was surprised in person when I told her this, was that Bibi offered to take Turning Point USA to the next level. And Charlie said no. In exchange for what?
Yeah.
Also, how does an organization that's pulling in $150 million a year, what is the next level?
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
What does that look like?
$100 million a year. In exchange for what? Do you think in exchange for him pledging to preach free markets and capitalism? No.
If you guys know, so the timeline is this, and I've laid it out in a previous episode. Charlie sent Bibi Netanyahu a letter it's either March, I think it's March or May. It might have been May. It starts with an M. And it's a 7-page letter. And it tells him that his Hasbara propaganda in the United States is not working and that he needs to change his tactics if he doesn't want to lose the American Christian public permanently. And that not him personally, that he needs to enlist people. And he even told him how to rename the organization Israeli Truth Network, right? Charlie gave him points to do. Bibi responds and goes, "Let me come on your show." Charlie says, "No, you're not coming on my show." Bibi takes that personally, starts going on like all these other shows like Brandon Tatum and PBD, total Zionists, total shills, and is trying to do it himself. Then we fast forward to, in July, the Student Action Summit. I feel like I'm missing something. There was one other thing before the Student Action Summit. But anyways, at the Student Action Summit, he has Tucker Carlson on, and he does the sit-down focus group with the TPUSA chapter heads with Andrew Kolvet, where they only talk about Israel. He has, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Dave Smith, debates and destroys Josh Hammer. And then after that, right, he goes to the White House to argue to keep us out of a war. Bibi calls and is arguing with Trump to go to war. Charlie and Joe Kent and Tucker were there arguing no war. They win the argument. They do a limited strike in Fordow. After that, he goes to Tucker's for the sit down recording with Erica. Then he goes to the Hamptons, and that's when BB calls. Erica's there. BB calls and says, I want to put money into TPUSA and do it through you. So first he asked to go on the show. Charlie said no. Offers money. Charlie says no. And at that point, they were already planning for multiple contingencies because on September like 8th and 10th and then like the 18th, the Foreign Ministry of Israel files of 2 FARA filings. They have the Show Faith by Works filing and then the Clock Tower X filing. And both of those are their ways to do it without TPUSA. Subversively, they're both just going to be propaganda trying to lie to us, you know. Then Charlie gets taken out. Erica takes over. They reverse and are total Zionists. And all this new money comes in, and they end up getting everything they wanted and more. So think about that.
So at the moment that you refuse an offer from a man
Like,
that deranged,
yeah,
that psychopathic, that bloodthirsty,
That
you
much power.
you know something.
Yeah.
You know
He
something.
obviously has
It's in exchange
an
for something.
enormous amount of influence over the current administration.
Correct.
I mean, enormous amount of influence. It's
Oh.
pretty fucking obvious. I think.
And remember, Miriam Adelson, right? Her money comes from casinos in Vegas. Did you guys know Erica France's family also is connected to the casinos in Vegas? Interesting, right? And that all leads also back to BB as well.
Everybody's seeing it.
In exchange for what? I'll take your company to the next level. Cool. What in exchange for what?
Silence.
I think it's a $1 trillion question.
Yeah.
And Erica, when I asked her about that, and she admitted the Bibi Netanyahu call happened, that she was there, and she said, "Oh, he was just calling because Charlie had written him a letter in May."
There you
And it's just so stupid.
go. So stupid.
So stupid. Oh, he's not busy. He just was calling to say, "Hey, Toodles, like, just wanted to know how you're doing. I saw your letter. Thanks for it." And he was just, I said, "That's it." Okay. So I'm supposed to believe Andrew lied about that he offered to take it to the next level, and she was coming to say, no, that didn't happen. He just wanted to just check in with Charlie. That's not true. She's lying. And I know she's lying because then somebody in Andrew Kolvet's family orbit reached out to me and said that definitively happened because Andrew said that when Charlie said no, he lost millions. Andrew Kolvet lost millions when Charlie said no. Now you wonder, how does a PR guy lose millions? He's a spokesperson for Turning Point USA. And then I had to remind myself that he owns a piece.
Wait, what? My live stream ended? Hold on. Hold on. Wait, can you guys... No, my live stream hasn't ended, right? No, I'm live. Okay. All right. I don't know. All right. No, we're still live. All right. What the heck? That was weird. Somebody texted me my live stream ended. All right. I would have gotten all right, never mind.
Of the Charlie Kirk show, right? So I don't know if it was going to be via the Charlie Kirk show, which was at that moment with Salem. Salem has recently filed, under FARA. They're working with that Faith by Works and the whole thing. And Salem is a part of that filing. So they are effectively foreign agents. I don't know how that money was going to come in. That's another question that if we had any real journalists, they would be exploring that. But Bibi Netanyahu calling and Charlie not just refusing it, but he had anger towards Bibi. He did. And how do you know? Because Bibi Netanyahu that month did a ton of shows. Very strange, by the way, that a prime minister of Israel was suddenly hitting the orbit, doing PR. He did a ton of shows. I mean, Patrick Bet-David's show, Brandon Tatum's show, and he hadn't before that done any sort of podcasting since he was like hawking his book, like years ago. He didn't do Charlie Kirk's show because Charlie didn't want to have him on. Again, something told to me as a fact by Andrew Kolvet. Charlie refused to have Bibi Netanyahu on a show. So if you want to know how Charlie was feeling about Israel and Bibi Netanyahu, there's your answer. How people couldn't see the Israel threat in this doesn't make any sense to me.
I can't believe he said it was supposed to be you.
He did.
Does that scare you?
I mean,
You seem fearless.
we're all here for a blip, and I think it's not about not having any fears. It's about what scares me more, right? What scares me more is considering the world that our children will inherit if we stay quiet, because we feel it right now. We feel the squeeze. We feel the evil. We feel the cloud. It's there. And you have a bunch of people who, whether it's for money or for fear, are allowing it to happen. And there are so many historical lessons about what can happen to a country when good men do nothing.
Or good men are murdered.
And so what scares me is thinking about what's going to be like in America when my children are my age, because I was too scared to say something when Charlie Kirk was publicly assassinated and the most powerful people in the country colluded to lie about it.
Yep.
If Charlie Kirk was not safe in the United States of America, nobody is.
100%.
Nobody is.
Do you feel this is your responsibility?
To figure out what happened and to keep the investigation going. I don't know if it's like I don't know if responsibility would be the word that I would use. I just know that it's a part of my journey.
Yeah.
I know that it's not a coincidence that Charlie kept telling me he was going to die young, that he had really, really deep visions about his death in 2018, very specific visions about the fact that he was going to die young, and that he knew that I would be the one to fight.
That's crazy.
You know, there are things that we don't understand. We're not meant to understand them, right? But there is something that is moving me that feels bigger than me. I know it matters. And when I read back those conversations and think about how I was like, you need to get some sleep. You're probably just tired. No, you're not going to die young. You know, my death is going to be tied to Turning Point USA from the moment I signed on the dotted line, he said.
That's crazy, you guys. Sorry, I have a mint from a lozenger. He said from the moment I signed on the dotted line, he knew that it was, or he had this feeling and he was having the same exact recurring dream that his death would be tied to TPUSA ever since he signed on the dotted line. And I can tell you firsthand, I do have dreams that come true. Nothing ever like that, like meaningful. It's usually like years down the line, I'll like be in a place and I'll be like, holy smokes, like deja vu, but I had a dream about this. I think that does happen. It's happened to me, you know, nothing as significant as that. But you guys do me a favor. We have like 2,800 people here. We have 900 likes. If you just do me a quick favor and hit the like and the subscribe, it's a good way to support the channel. And then if you haven't taken the poll yet, this would be a great way to get a good sample size of where people are at on how they think Charlie Kirk was murdered.
He said he has the dream. He had the dreams repeatedly.
What were the dreams?
That he was going to die young, that he was going to die in a very tragic way. And that his death would be tied to like saving the world, waking up the world about something.
That's crazy.
And at the time, I didn't. I mean, what do you say with that, right? It'd be weird if I was like, okay, sure, give me a plan. What would you like me to do when you die young? What was I going to say? When I read it back, it's haunting. It haunts me.
Yeah.
And it haunts me because now in the way that he was dreaming in 2018, I have had the most vivid dreams since he's died. And I don't discount them. I know there is just something spiritually pulling me and guiding me in ways that I don't really understand. And so I just give into that.
Yeah.
It's like he went out and something awakened in me.
that happened with all of us. I think it happened with me and a lot of people that are members of this community. And we talk all the time when we do lives daily that Charlie Kirk's assassination, his death, it did something in a lot of us. It reinvigorated for me to not be complacent about my faith and the things that I felt God had been calling me to do. And starting this channel was one of the things that I did in the wake of Charlie's assassination, and using this platform for good and for my gifts that I feel that God has bestowed upon me. So I think it happened to a lot of us.
I mean, when you're talking about evil prevails when good men do nothing, do you think that, I think about this all the time too. It's one of my favorite quotes.
Yeah.
I feel it's, part of me feels like it's a responsibility to do what I do, just like you do, I think. And, but how much impact do you think you can really make?
A lot.
You know, I try not to stop and measure my impact. I know that every day when I wake up and when I decide what I want to cover, I am doing it out of a unique passion. I care. And something is motivating me that's real. And I think people respond to that. And it's made a difference. Charlie is trending every day. He's trending every day. And that's not what they wanted.
Nope.
They wanted everyone to stop talking about him the moment Erica and Trump hugged on stage at the memorial. And she said, I forgive him. That was supposed to be the end.
That was so weird, too.
It was weird. Everything was weird. Everything has been strange. Most of all, his wife.
Yeah.
And watching, there's this almost subhuman answer that they are trying to provide, which is, well, we have money. We have power. So just get in line.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna be the cure here for all the skepticism, is just to apply more money, more influencers, more attacks on the people who are looking into it. I mean, Turning Point USA attacking Joe Kent. I mean, it's just for trying to investigate whether there could have been any foreign ties.
Oh, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, so I have this video. If we get to it today, we can. This was filmed. Charlie Kirk filmed this on June 21st, 2025. It was right after the bombing of Fordow. Wait, did I share it? Yeah, I did. Fordow. And he talks about speaking with Joe Kent. He doesn't say Joe Kent's name, but he talks about someone high up in the administration, in like the Trump administration, like, you know, I forget what it is, counterterrorism center, right? That him, Tucker, and this person were advocating for no war in Iran after the bombing of Fordow, and that they were not for anything past that. And if they said, if anything goes past that, Charlie says this, and so does Blake and Andrew and what's his name, Jack Posobiec, and they go, if this goes past anything more than this bombing, we should all be concerned. We should be looking at Israel. We should be concerned about Trump. We shouldn't accept it. And so them coming out after Charlie's assassination that Charlie would support this, and Brandon Tatum doing a post today saying that Charlie supports this war in Iran, is complete lie. It's total disgusting lie.
Think about how bizarre that is.
Oh, I know.
And what's more bizarre is that they don't recognize it as bizarre when they do it.
Yeah.
What's wrong with these people? The social IQ there is something that disturbs me.
Yeah, it's lacking.
Their inability to understand that what they're doing is going to register to the public as remarkably suspicious.
Yeah.
Case in point, did no one tell you that you shouldn't be on a Zoom call laughing about emojis 6 days after your husband got killed?
Right.
Does someone have to tell you that?
No.
What has been rinsed out of you that you don't recognize that there's something deeply wrong with that?
Let me pause this real quick. Let me hit this super, and let me give thanks to, I know I shared it, but licensed to deal. Thank you for becoming a member today. And then we have Latasha Evans. Thank you for your super chat. I just found you. Thank you so much for your open mind, kind heart, and love for Charlie. The truth is out and on the way. Thank you, Latasha. That's why we're here. Yeah, every day for Charlie.
To get onto a Zoom call 11 days after he's been assassinated and say we're moving on with Turning Point 2.0. My husband is dead. Not to be morbid, but he's dead. That's acceptance.
Do you think that she had something to do with it? She was complicit, or I mean, we were talking about this earlier. I came here from Boca Raton, Florida. It's the shallowest fucking place on the planet. You see 19-year-old girls with 76-year-old men every single day playing tonsil hockey and more, you know, and that's just what that place is.
And just to remind you guys what video they're talking about, let me go here real quick, pause. Let me get to the point where it's just the video. All these people have their pictures on it the whole time. Never mind. We'll stay with this.
Do you think that maybe when they met, she was, you know, she just saw a paycheck, and she's a narcissist and had no feelings, no love, no nothing for him, just wanted to marry into a guy who's making $150 million a year?
Even if everything you just said was true, she was motivated by money to marry him. She didn't actually love him. Let's even add that she hated him secretly, right? When someone dies like that, you still have a human reaction.
Mm-hmm. Should.
So who would you say is his arch nemesis? Nick Fuentes?
Yeah, one.
Okay.
Ben Shapiro.
He delivered a more impassioned response to what happened to Charlie than Charlie's wife did.
Yeah.
Even your worst enemy. That's what I'm saying. Like, remove all that. Even if it's your worst enemy in life, when someone dies like that, it stirs you because you're like, okay, I didn't really like this guy, but like, man.
Here it is. I found it, guys. Here. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm just reminding you. Wait, what the heck? Where's the volume? There we go.
Has lost not only a boss, but someone that you looked up to, someone that you believed in his mission, that you also that you loved.
Look at the date. This is 6 days after the assassination. What the actual heck?
You loved listening to his show. You loved hearing his wisdom on things. I'm sure some of you have also
be different, but you'll get little moments where you're like, okay, Charlie, I see you. It might be here on campus. It might be in quiet moments of the night.
What is she wiping away? There's no freaking tears there, bro. This is so evil.
I didn't want him to die like that. You know, that's not how I wanted. I wanted to, you know, debate him. I was having fun hating him, whatever it is. That we couldn't get that from his wife. And when I go back, because I think I did suffer, my sister said to me, you know, right away, she came down, I couldn't eat. And she said to me, Candace, you need to recognize that to watch somebody that you know die like that, it's like a brain trauma. Like my brain was like trying, and I'm sure you understand this because military guys deal with death, I think, a lot more than we do, a traumatic death like this. But it's like a brain trauma is the only way you can describe it. And so I was not even paying attention to certain things that I now see with very clear eyes, like her speech, like you said, at the memorial. Erica actually doesn't really tell you anything about Charlie in that speech.
No, she doesn't.
It's a speech that's laying the groundwork for Turning Point 2.0.
Yep.
She tells you, every time she speaks about Charlie, she actually tells you about how great she is, how much he loved her.
Yes.
How he wrote her notes.
And why didn't the parents speak? I think they didn't let the parents speak. I think they couldn't guarantee what the parents were going to say, right? That they were going to like either make them read a specific speech, or they weren't going to be allowed to speak. If they were allowed to just say whatever they wanted, like, oh my goodness. But they weren't allowed to speak. We haven't heard from them at all.
How he wanted her to take over Turning Point USA. And she didn't write a speech. I learned that because they fired a bunch of people, that she didn't write a speech. Erica doesn't write her own speeches. The idea of not writing the eulogy, and that's why we don't learn anything about him, that we couldn't find on Wikipedia. There was no
personal
substance.
There's no substance.
No.
Who was Charlie outside of Turning Point USA? You can't find out in that speech.
Oh, he was daddy.
All Charlie wanted was Turning Point USA 2.0.
Yeah.
Turning Point. He cared about the students. He cared about looking after men like Tyler Robinson. I forgive him. This is what Turning Point's all about. Turning Point. How many times they say Turning Point? I mean, even at her podium speech, and I felt weird about it the first time when the 48 hours afterwards, she said, you want to help? Here's what you can do. Go to turningpointusa.com. Out of nowhere, an ad read. The first time she addresses the nation, go to turningpointusa.com.
Holy shit.
I can't even like stomach the idea of being able to say something like that. But her whole idea was like, this is what he wanted. He wanted your money to go to Turning Point USA. And then you can contrast it with Vanessa Bryant's speech.
Oh yeah, we looked at that.
And you see what a
Kobe's
grieving
wife.
widow looks like.
Yep.
And you listen to the story she told. I rewatched her speech.
Yep.
And I couldn't get through it because I loved Kobe. I loved Kobe Bryant. And I loved Kobe on the court. He was amazing at what he did. But how weird if she had given a speech of like, he dribbled every single day and what he loved was the Lakers. And if you want to support the Lakers and support no, she said, we didn't even know Kobe. By the time you get through her speech, you realize you didn't know Kobe. I loved Kobe, who he was in the court. This is her husband, and she knew Kobe. And she shared that with us in her eulogy of Vanessa Bryant, like who he was as a father, who he was, who he was at home. And you realize there's no humanity in Erica's speech.
None.
She doesn't want you to think of Charlie as anything other than a vehicle for Turning Point USA. And he was so much more than that. He was so much more than that. I think that's why in retrospect, people watched my show.
Yep.
And people like Tila Lorenz said, she tweeted, why do I feel like Candace Owens is the only one that actually cared about him? I didn't even realize that when I was just saying, sharing all of those like little moments that I had with Charlie, that was unique. And that nobody was getting that from anybody who worked with him. They were just trying to encourage you to donate to Turning Point USA. This is what he would have wanted you to do.
And still.
Holy shit.
He wasn't like, yes, he loved building and he loved politics and all those things, but the actual Charlie was
so much more.
He was just so funny. Just like the fact that they didn't tell you who Charlie was and how he was really good at voices and like he could mimic anybody's voice. And he just had the best sense of humor. He really did. And everything was just left on the table. They didn't care. It was all about building what Erica was going to step into.
Yep. They were prepared for it. They rolled it out, ready to go.
Let's take a break.
All right, let me skip because we're behind. Let me back up. Hold on. Where do they come back? I don't want to miss it. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Did I go back too far? Hold on.
Erica actually doesn't really tell you anything about Charlie in that speech.
I did. Oh no.
What Charlie wanted was Turning Point USA 2.0.
I should have just
Turning Point. He cared about the students. He cared about the first time when the 48 hours afterwards, she said, you want to help, here's what you can do. And I couldn't get through it because I loved Kobe.
Hold on.
And you realize and everything was just left on the table. They didn't care. It was all about building what Erica was going to step in, a friend of mine. And I think he's gay, by the way. I think he ended up being gay in life. But he and I hung out all the time until I got my first boyfriend. And that was it. I was totally the typical standard, ditch all your friends, spend nonstop time with your boyfriend. And he was really angry and bitter about that. Not because he liked me or anything, but it was just, I guess, a disruption. And so one night, I guess, he rounded up a couple of guys who I had never met in my life, which is why it was scary when it happened, because I was thinking, I don't know who would leave me these messages. And they left the boys. And I mean, the youngest was like 12 years old, I think, having his first beer. And they left like horrifically racist messages. Like, there's no question. We're going to put a bullet in the back of your head, like Rosa Parks. I mean,
holy shit.
It was a lot. And when it happened, I was like, what on earth? Like, who's calling me? I didn't think it was him because the voices weren't his. He had different people in the car, but one of the people ended up being the mayor and then eventual governor of Connecticut's son, which turned it into a political thing. And suddenly now everyone wanted to cover this.
Okay, so after the break, they switched topics. Hopefully they'll come back. I'd never made it this far. This is the 120 mark. I made it to that break. Okay.
I hadn't even reported it myself. I actually was just talking about it in a philosophy class in high school. And my teacher at the time, who's now the principal of the school, of the high school, he's great, loved him. He was like, this is absolutely unacceptable. Look, you're going in right now and reporting this. And so he went right into the principal's office and reported it. And then it felt like everything was taken completely out of my control. And it was like front page fodder because it was, look what the mayor's son was involved in. I had never met the kid in my entire life. And the racism theme and the NAACP is showing up on the steps of my high school. They had never spoken to me, but the NAACP has got an NAACP. So that kind of shaped my ideas about them as well. And because no one cared about how we felt at that point. No one cared about really what probably should have happened is he probably should have been forced to apologize. And they probably, rather than smearing him as a racist, I mean, was he a racist? No, we were best friends. That's kind of the point. Did he do something and say something racist? Yes. You will be surprised how, when you're trying to hurt someone, how easily available it is to use a racist term, even when you're mad. I mean, there's comedic skits about that. Everyone turns into a racist as soon as someone cuts them off in a car, right? Like, the Spanish guy just cut me off. You know what I mean? Suddenly we're all racist when we're angry. There's some truth to it. You know, you catch yourself. Yeah, you're sexist too. Woman driver, like female. Oh, he's a Chinese man behind the wheel. And so it was, you know, the micro of that, pretty much. And more traumatizing than the messages was then having my life completely ripped from me and becoming like this micro celebrity victim, right? And nobody cared. And everyone's life got ruined in a different way. The kids I know ended up getting into a lot of trouble. I think the kid that was my best friend, I ended up leaving school for a bit and homeschooling just because I wanted, while the FBI was investigating the authenticity of the message, as if it was.
And just so you guys know, because it's Patreon, it doesn't have the chapter breakdowns at the bottom, and it doesn't let me preview like the video like it does on YouTube. So I have no way to find out like where does this return to, you know. So hopefully you guys are down for
it. That was being pressed.
Oh, the FBI got involved?
Yeah, they did. And I think it was just because of the element of the politician who was trying to pretend his son didn't do it, as if what I called myself casually, like, and left these messages. I don't know why all of that was even necessary. They should have just confessed, but I think they tried to get away with it in like a weird, stupid way. And the kids ended up getting arrested, and it was definitely not, it was just wasn't dealt with in the right way. And it became this really big thing that ruined a lot of lives. And I think for a kid to be branded as a racist for doing something one night is really heavy. It's really heavy, especially when it's just fundamentally not true, right? Like I said, he wouldn't have been my best friend if he was a racist. And I will maintain that he was not a racist. He did something really stupid and said a lot of really racist stuff when he was drunk. People make mistakes. It's hard, especially now in today's environment, to allow kids to make mistakes. Everything is so recorded. I mean, you see what they do if they find one tweet that someone sent that said, you know, the N-word when they were 11 years old. And I remember sitting with my younger cousin one time, and he plays, you know, what's the game? Not Grand Theft Auto, but it's one that's like it, where there's like a lot of guys love it. It's Call of Duty. Call of Duty. And he literally was 12 years old. And he's in the chat. Have you ever seen this Call of Duty chat? I'm sure you have, maybe. And it's unbelievable. It's just like this whole, and he's in there saying whatever and saying Allah Akbar and throwing a bomb. And he's like a 12-year-old kid. And I'm just sitting here going, okay, this is just 12-year-olds just trying everything out, saying what they can. You're going to push boundaries. I mean, it's a part of coming of age. It's like you push boundaries. And, you know, Louis C.K. did a really good skit talking about what the phones are taking away from people. And it's this natural stage where people want to try out being mean. And if you say something to someone's face and you see how they react, and then you realize you don't really feel good being mean, it doesn't actually feel good to be mean. It allows you to kind of edit yourself as a human being. And things are really easy when you add technology as a layer. It's easy to tweet something stupid. It's easy to, you know, say something vicious in the comment section. And we're now dealing with a generation of kids who are growing up terminally online. Whereas when I was growing up, my dad had a beeper, right? And so I don't have to think about the record where I'm sure I experimented with being mean in middle school. And social media has added another dynamic to it. So I kind of reflected on that, and again, don't regret any of the lessons from it. But I really do think that it's just seeing the obsession to politicize, and the NAACP and the Democratic mayor looking to like try to cover this up. It kind of gave me an early introduction to what politics is, which is not really about solutions, but
You saw it
rather
right through all that shit at 17 years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I lived it, and it didn't help me. And so also even just the politics of victimhood. This is a victim. Like, who wants to be a victim?
A lot of people.
Yeah. Well, because money is made, and that is kind of the NAACP's grift. In that is, find me a black victim, and I'll show up and be in front of the cameras, screaming about how racism still exists. And by the way, people are always going to say racist words and sexist words, and I am just not a big believer in that. I'm not a believer at all in the idea that this is stopping me from getting from point A to point B. It's not really my business if somebody doesn't like black people. Personally, I think everyone's just gotten too nosy. You're allowed to, when people ask me why I don't find, the inflammatory language to be such a threat, and it's just dumb. I find a lot of it to be really dumb. And if you're somebody who thinks I don't want to ever date a black girl or a Spanish girl or a white girl, have at it, man. It doesn't really impact my life. And so a lot of the hyper focus on that is because it keeps people constantly divided and warring and forming an opinion about stuff that doesn't actually empower any of us.
Correct.
And the people that are intentionally constantly stoking the flames of that are people at the top, of course.
Does the NAACP actually do anything for the black community?
No.
Nothing.
They just find another victim and raise money. Of course, if your entire bottom line relies upon racism existing, you don't ever want to go out. Common sense. It's sort of like, you even saw this with GLAAD. To give another example, their whole grift was all about gay marriage, gay marriage, gay marriage. And then they got gay marriage. And they were like, got any more letters in that LGB bag? And they're like, actually, here's a T, a Q, an R,
Let
an
us
S.
invent some.
Yeah, exactly. So these people are not actually looking to solve problems. They're looking to constantly have a problem that needs to be solved so that they can fundraise off of it.
Yep.
Yeah,
They create problems.
I mean, I feel like derogatory racial terms. I mean, it seems like they've completely lost the weight.
Yeah.
Because they've overused it. Everything in every
possible regard. Yeah. And you just also we just need people to be tougher. Like, you'll be fine if somebody calls you the N-word. You'll be fine if somebody calls you a racial slur. Like, we just need to kind of build tougher people than to think that they're all coming apart because they've been called a name. Like, I want my kids to be tougher than that,
Why do you think do you think it's for the money, the donations, whatever it is, like the
100%.
NAACP, or do you think it's bigger than that? Do you think,
it can get bigger than that.
The divide and conquer.
All of the above.
Absolutely. BLM was that example. I mean, when they get going, they can cause people to be at each other's throats, warring. They will cause a civil war before they get people looking at the corruption of what they're doing.
Yep.
And that's been tale as old as time.
Who do you think they is? They is a lot of different people.
Well, it depends on what we're talking about. There's totally different categories of topics that I cover on the show. I think the biggest issue that we have right now in America, without question, is Israel.
Yep.
Israel. And the satanic people.
Yes.
Who support what they're doing.
Yeah.
The bloodthirst, the control, they behave like a mafia. And I'm talking specifically about Zionists. And sometimes people will say, well, when you say Zionists, you mean Jews. I want to be very clear.
No.
The Judeo-Christians
Yes.
can be some of the most toxic gang-like people who are part of the same apparatus.
Yep.
So you actually can't isolate it.
Yeah.
But I have found, which has been the experience, I think, of a lot of people, especially over the last year, this is a gang. This is a mafia. This is not normal. What they did, the pressure they put Charlie under, what they did to me, what they're currently doing to Megyn Kelly. I mean,
we're going to keep listening to this. Hold on. I got to get this super chat. I get them as they come. So if they're saying something that's relevant to what's going on, it's in context and not at the very end. Plus, if people give money and then they have to leave and they don't get to see me read it, I don't think that's very fair. Okay, so 3,000. Proud of you. Thank you for this community as a soft place for me to land. The world is heavy right now, and it means a lot. Thank you for what you do. Thank you, kind forever. I appreciate it. That's what it's supposed to be. Okay, let's keep going.
Megyn Kelly, I think, is probably the greatest example. What did Megyn Kelly do? Like, Megyn Kelly was like, I'm a Zionist. And they were like, we don't care. You say something about Tucker Carlson right now, or we will destroy you.
Yes.
And you.
That's a mafia.
And you.
Yeah.
Yep.
And me. That's a mafia. That is, you are with us or you are against us. And
they were doing that to Charlie too.
I faced that obviously in my own life and saw that, and I called it out for what it is. And it's, by the way, we're late to the party. Michael Jackson was trying to say what it was. Kanye West was trying to say what it was. They lived through this mafia.
Yep.
And finally, we have people understanding that.
What did Michael Jackson say?
Oh my goodness.
Michael Jackson had a list of the 6 Jewish people who he said were messing with his life. Rabbi Shmuley was on the list. I can't think of the other people that were on it, and that they called him an anti-Semite. They called him an anti-Semite because he was talking about control in Hollywood and people that he was fighting
in the music industry
for control.
Who's Rabbi Shmuley?
Oh my gosh, a piece of
He's just a crazy deranged
Yes.
Am I
human.
supposed to know him?
He had a lot to do with the Michael Jackson stuff because he called himself Michael Jackson's rabbi.
Yep.
And really kind of is just a person that is constantly.
Think about that, guys. Okay. After the fact, Rabbi Wolicki, okay, who was, first of all, Charlie was never Jewish. Okay. Can't be someone's rabbi. They don't believe in that, dude. Rabbi Wolicki, who was on that Zoom call the night before the assassination, where they were pressuring him with Josh Hammer to turn and, return to his ways of shilling for Israel. And he goes on shows like Josh Hammer's show, Ben Shapiro. It goes on that Aaron Malone, or whatever from Australia, calls himself, appoints himself Charlie Kirk's rabbi. They do this after the fact. People that are part of the pressure campaign and the, attacks on the individual after they die, then they appoint themselves as their rabbi. It's freaking disgusting. No shame, no soul, evil.
Threatening people out in the open, and is somehow allowed to do it because of what his father did for the state of Israel. And often you will find that thread of the people who are the most deranged and the most psychopathic, and yet somehow seem to be allowed to function in society. You just have to figure out who their parents were, who their uncles were, and they've done something for the state of Israel. So they're like in the Zionist mafia, as I describe it.
Yep.
It is a mafia.
Yeah. There's
no question in my life. It's in my mind that it is a gang.
Yeah.
What was Kanye saying?
Well, Kanye, he notoriously tweeted that he was going to go DEFCON 3 on some Jewish people that had been toying with his life. And nobody cared when he dropped the actual text messages from his trainer, Harley Pasternak, saying that he would put him back in the hospital and he'd never be able to see his kids again. He dropped the messages. We talk about a gangster threat. Like, here's how it's going to go. Harley Pasternak is a trainer. And Kanye was basically, before I was awake to this possibility, I was very much around him when this was all going down, when he tweeted this and when Adidas pulled his contract. He was at my house and all the stuff that was going on. And he was basically, I just thought I had no idea what he was talking about. I was like very green to this concept of someone saying that their life was a Truman Show. And he was like, basically like, are you a real person? Like, even to me, are you a real person? Like, and I'm like, are you good? Like, what do you mean? Like, you think I'm a character in a show? Are you real? He was going through this.
Do you guys remember the videos that came out that when the Kardashians were filming Kanye in his worst moments, like exploding? I look at the Kardashians, what's her name? Kim, as the same as Erica Kirk. Okay. They did not help him. They made it worse. They want fame, money, fortune, influence. They care about themselves and themselves only. They were willing to do the most evil things to him if he didn't do what they said. Like, just stop talking about it. Just stop saying what you're saying. Erica was doing the same thing to Charlie. It's like that they they designate certain people. I would say this really applies to like straight men, because they get them like a honeypot that they know is on their side and will shill for them and will be an inside op if things go awry, get them, have their kids. What is the most lever of control on a man, a married man with kids? His freaking wife and kids, man. And the same manipulation that they were using on Kanye, I wonder, we don't know about it yet, but like if things were going down like that with Charlie, I don't put it past Erica and all the people that she's connected to. Not at all. Let me read this real quick. Sup, Matt. Last week was analysis of past creepy caddy, as I now call him, was on point. Nihilist dropped a clip of him thumb petting EK's hand. Cringy. Who are you talking about? Are you talking about James Cadiz? Caddy? I don't know what you mean by caddy. Do you mean James Cadiz, the pastor? Yeah, they are creepy. It's really gross.
And at its core is he felt like someone was directing his life and that the people had been controlling him and were he was going to stand up to these people. But Harley Pasternak was his trainer. I've covered this on my show. He's got a very checkered past. A lot of his clients have died in suspicious circumstances. And he also was like former Canadian CIA.
Oh,
like psychology or something. And then like decided to go be a gym trainer in LA. In Hollywood.
That's not weird.
And these are handlers. Handlers are real.
Yep.
This is a part of the onion of the Zionist mafia, in my view, is the handlers who are supposed to see if they can bring you back to the side of reason. Can't you see the error of your ways? And even when you're completely right, their job is to gaslight you into thinking that you're wrong. And I've had my experience. I believe that I had handlers and didn't recognize it. But Kanye, when he kind of really woke up to that, Harley Pasternak, he shared the message that Harley Pasternak, his trainer, gym trainer, wrote to him. And he said, here's how it's going to go. Maybe he said, you're going to say sorry or something. And then the message reads, or I'll take you back to Cedar Sinai, because Harley Pasternak is the one that got Kanye put on a Psych 5150 hole when they drugged him. And he said, and we'll take you back to, I think he described it as La La Land. And he said, and play dates with your kids will never be the same. We'll drug you out of your mind.
Holy shit.
It's in writing.
Yeah. And if you guys saw what was it, like the preview that was released earlier today, it was like a 6-minute or something clip. They actually showed the text messages. I'm surprised they didn't show it here, but yeah, they show the text message.
The media just let it go.
Yeah.
And said Kanye was crazy. I said, no, Harley Pasternak's crazy.
Yeah, and evil.
Who the hell is this man? It's not how a gym trainer talks.
No.
Who is this guy?
Holy shit.
And so when Hollywood stars have been screaming and trying to tell you that something is wrong and that they suddenly wake up to the fact that they're in a prison, the first thing that happens is another layer of the onion comes out and calls them crazy. That's how that works. They say this person's having an emotional breakdown. They diagnose the people. And the reason for that is because it was that strategy of modern psychology was developed by Sigmund Freud, who was a Satanist, full stop. He was into Jewish mysticism, the occult, Sabbatian Frankism.
Yep.
And he began gaslighting kids who actually were being raped by their parents in Vienna. That is the true story of Sigmund Freud. There's a book on it by the man who controlled his archives called The Assault on Truth. This is a book written by a Jewish man. So there's no anti-Semitism in this book. And he worked under Anna Freud and was due to become the next director of a Sigmund Freud archives. So he was a fan of psychology. He believed in Sigmund Freud's theory, which was that kids are attracted to their parents. Wacky. And then he learned to speak German so that he could read Sigmund Freud's notes and his letters that the public has never seen. And he realized that Sigmund Freud was a complete fraud. And he rang the alarm on it and said he literally saw and knew that these kids were being.
I'm a little nervous for what she's going to say. I wonder if they're going to have to edit this part out when it goes onto YouTube. Holy smokes. She's about to say the R word. What can I do just to get past that word. Uh-oh. I mean,
Abused.
okay.
That these kids were being raped. In some cases in Vienna,
she said it.
they were being raped and
No,
murdered in
Candace.
such satanic, vicious, occult, ceremonies that they died.
Oh,
And
no.
he would then go to the morgue. He observed their injuries. He knew it was real, and he lied because he was protecting his pedophile friends.
All the
And so they
words.
developed. Sigmund Freud's contribution to society is gaslighting. He created gaslighting. So you can draw a direct line from Sigmund Freud to Hollywood,
Okay, we're
to
past it.
modern propaganda. His
Hopefully.
nephew is Edward Bernays.
Yep.
The World War II propaganda,
Yep.
all of that. That's Edward Bernays.
Yep.
To PR that we have today.
Yep.
That the Freud family is still the biggest PR family in the world. They do PR for the royal family. I mean, Matthew Freud. And
100%.
this is where we're at. Is gaslighting is another onion piece of a layer. So when you realize someone's wronged you and you say, this is wrong, they then send people to try to make you think that you're the crazy person. And I dealt with that firsthand. Saw how the mafia moves, trying to convince me that I had done something wrong when I tweeted genocide is always wrong. The messages were insane that I received. I had to read my tweet like 1,000 times and go, did I say something in here? Like, genocide is always
You
wrong.
said genocide is wrong, and then
Genocide is always wrong.
Holy shit. Who do you think your handlers were?
I think
How close to you were they?
they were all, I mean, it was very apparent that it was all around me. It was,
Dang.
I think probably the most skilled handler, and was Marissa. I didn't realize until that moment that, she messaged me and said, like, I want to help you. You don't want to go down this route. If you go down this route, I can't protect you. And
Okay, Marissa is the head of PragerU. I did a video breakdown of James Cadiz, okay, who is Erica's pastor for Proclaim and for Bible in 365. He's the one that does the videos with her once a month together. He's the one that was 1,000 pounds and is now still like 400 pounds and like made fun of Charlie with Erica and laughed about it. And he was pressuring Charlie to marry Erica. He did a whole video. He was attacking Candace with Erica present when Charlie was still alive on their videos. And I've documented it this week. Okay. He did a full video breakdown of the Dennis Prager letter that Dennis Prager published. That was a private letter that he sent to Candace, but then Candace didn't reply in his time. So he published it to put her on blast. James Cadiz reads that letter aloud and attacks Candace for an hour and a half and calling her an anti-Semite, calling her demonic, calling her evil, saying that her father is Satan, and all of us too, if we believe the same thing she does. And he completely is, and Dennis Prager is not a Christian. He's Jewish. It's okay. And same with Marissa, who is like high up in, I don't know if she's the CEO or CFO or something in PragerU. That's who she's talking about. I can look up a photo as she keeps talking. Who do we got here? Oh, what's up, Pops? This is my father-in-law. What up, Pops? 3,000 on BLB. Oh, wow. Great job, son. Go Max. Love, Pop. Thanks. I didn't know if you would actually want me to say that it was you, and then you did. So that's cool. All right. Let me let it keep playing, and then I'll pull up the photo of Marissa from PragerU.
I stood up for myself and the messages, and I said, Marissa, go down what route? Like, what am I doing here that's wrong? I'm a grown adult woman. I know what I'm saying. I believe genocide is always wrong. I mean, this was all via text message, so I still have it.
Who's Marissa?
Marissa is the CEO of Prager University.
Got it. Yeah, I knew it. I freaking know my stuff. Hopefully this doesn't mess with the live. Here's Marissa straight from PragerU. This is her. And she's a total Zionist, just like Dennis Prager is. Or is he still alive? He got hurt. I don't know. Did he die? I think he's still alive, but he like fell down a staircase or something like that. But they're total Zionists. I mean, not Americans. She served in the IDF. She has dual citizenship. She served in the IDF. I guess she also served in Americans, the military. I don't know which branch, but who was it? Tucker. And I agree. And Tucker said that Charlie agreed with him like on everything when it came to like this issue. And I believe him. and said that, and I agree that if someone is a United States citizen, if they're, first of all, you shouldn't have like dual citizenship. You have dual allegiance. What if those two countries get into a war and then you have citizens in your country that have dual allegiance, dual citizenship, and now they choose the other country, but they're living in the country. You know what I mean? It's just a bad thing to have. And if you serve in another country's army, like, you should lose your citizenship. They should pull your passport and your citizenship. And I totally agree. This lady is, and she's evil. Okay. That's who Candace is talking about. Marissa Straight.
PragerU. And then, of course, the Daily Wire, who were trying to convince me that I owed Ben an apology for saying genocide is always wrong. I mean, watching that psychological element of them trying to convince me that I had done something wrong was insane. And Dave Rubin was messaging me. It was just full on, everyone trying to explain to me, like, let me help you. It's always the approach of like, I'm your friend and I'm trying to help you realize the error of your ways.
Guys, if you were to go read the Dennis Prager letter that got published, everything she's going to explain from her experience that they did with Kanye, that they were doing with Charlie. If you think of Lori Cardoza more, like, we care about you, Charlie. Turn from the error of your ways. God is going to live. Like, all the things that she's explaining from personal experience is exactly what happened with Kanye. And it was happening with Charlie. This is their tactic. This is their approach. Go on your own time and go read Dennis Prager's letter that he wrote to Candace and then published. He totally was gaslighting her, totally was acting like he cared about her, and that he was doing this because he genuinely was concerned for her. And same with Marissa Straight. Disgusting, evil. And James Cadiz, who is Erica's like pastor, did full-on videos of this and is in agreement with Prager. And it's like, oh, Prager's great.
And it's just full-blown gaslighting.
Yep.
And I stood firm on it and was like, no, I know what I wrote.
Yeah.
And I meant every word of it. Genocide is always wrong.
It is.
Still stand by that.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to be careful. How do you hire?
So I think he's also asking personally because he's got a big show. He has a lot of people around him. He probably has a lot of old team guys in his circle, but he's got to have a lot of tech guys too. And, you know, they can't all come from teams. And he's probably now thinking about some of his own personal relationships. Like, if everyone that gets high up and has a platform and influence, you know, and a channel or reach, or is, you know, some sort of public figure like this, and they send a handler to make sure that you don't, you know, turn and speak out against Israel and the administration or whatever it is at that day, he's probably worried for himself.
Well,
That's like the most. I get so fucking paranoid when I have to hire.
See? Well, let me.
I mean, everybody.
Hold on. Let me read this. I just saw a super chat come in. I read them as they come. What do we got? Jeversberg. Coach sent me here. You and the chat made me stay. Oh, cool. Right on. I like Coach. Coach is cool. I like Coach. All right. Let's continue.
It's hiring.
yeah.
I really fucking hate hiring
Yeah.
because I don't trust anybody.
It's nerve-wracking. I bet.
Yeah. I trust my gut.
How do you find your people?
Well, I've benefited from the fact that I've had the same people on my team for over 5 years now. So when I got fired from a Daily Wire, my team came with me, which was a tremendous vote of confidence at the time because we didn't know. We didn't have anything. We were just sort of like, look, we can't give you any benefits. We don't know if this is going to work, obviously. And the Daily Wire at that time was paying, you know, a lot of money. They had benefits. They had security. And, you know, my editor came over, my producer came over, technical director. And so it was a tremendous vote of confidence that they came over with me. So I know that they believe in me and they believe in what I'm doing. So I'm lucky that we don't have a high turnover rate, and I haven't had to be trusting. And I'm just very grateful, I think, to have that. And we're tight. We have a good time. We have fun. I believe in SEAL Team 6. I like to keep the team small and effective. I don't care about, you know, appearances and having 90 people working for me, and, you know, I can dress myself. You know, so it's a small team. And when we do have to hire, I go with my gut. We recently hired a new director, and he's been fantastic. And the reason why he was great is he just totally sits outside of the entire wheelhouse of politics. So was just a burst of fresh air, and loves to research. It's just a great positive attitude, and you have to want to be around the people too. You spend a lot of time, you're fighting a lot of battles with them, and so you want to keep them motivated and have a good time and be able to laugh and enjoy each other, have the same values in life. I think everybody on my team is in a really good place in life, like fulfilled by their relationships, by their marriages. So it feels good.
Let me read this real quick. It just came in. Moon Goddess, thank you for your hard work and appreciate you. Praying hands, heart, praying hands. Thank you, Moon Goddess. Appreciate it. All right, let's keep going.
For you.
Yeah, we're in a good spot.
Good for you. All right, let's go back a couple years. Where'd you go to college after
I went to the University of Rhode Island. That incident in high school happened when it was in my senior year. So it kind of threw my entire senior year into chaos. And I'm lucky I even...
Wait, real quick, y'all. Let me read this one, and then I'm going to ask you guys a question. Okay. Isn't telling, sorry, that they were all up in arms about the G word in Candace's post. If it wasn't true, they would have let it go. She didn't have to say Israel. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Genocide is always wrong is just a general statement. Speaking about across any time in history, it's just always has been and always is and will be wrong. It's just a blanket statement, and they personalized it and took it personally. I mean, obviously she was also talking about, like, we all knew she was talking about the current genocide that was going on. But yeah, she didn't explicitly say, and they took it to heart. You know what I mean? Okay. As Muslim, I love Jesus. We all should pray. Thank you so much, Sunshine. Appreciate it. Definitely. Oh, I didn't mean to hit that. I'm trying to click that off. No, not on, off. Okay. My question was going to be, in the parts where she starts talking personal background, do you guys want me to skip ahead, like slowly, or just let it play? Can you guys just say skip in the chat or play? And then I can know what you guys are wanting me to do, because if I do a poll, it's going to take a while to get that poll. But if you guys can just throw it in the chat, like just let it play or play. Let it play. All right, let's do it. That's enough. Cool. Let's go.
Applied to college. I almost didn't even apply because it was so crazy. And URI was like close enough. I just applied to URI, got in, went there.
What'd you want to study?
English and journalism. I have a double major in English and journalism, so I think it's quite fitting. Yeah.
Where do we go from there?
Where did I go from there? So actually, the story is I finished my degree later because Sallie Mae had a huge collapse and didn't give me my loan for my senior year of college. I have senior year issues, I've realized. So you've got some senior year issues. And
sorry, guys, we're going to let the consensus win. So if I see like 2 skips, but like freaking 20 plays, we're going to let it play. Okay.
I had to figure it out. Sallie Mae basically was like, you have 1 year before we start knocking on your door and demanding your firstborn child. I had $100K in student loan debt. They weren't going to pay for the last year. Crazy. I could wax poetic about the industry of student loans. It's so predatory. Finding poor people and getting them to pledge just to be in debt for the rest of their lives. But I then moved to New York City. I had no plan. I picked up a job nannying and was like, while I was nannying, if I could just start applying for jobs, because these loans were starting to
pile up,
haunt me. I needed to make some money and get out of debt. And so I was like, if I get my foot in the door anywhere, I can sell myself. I can learn anything. I'm a really hard worker. And my second interview at a private equity firm, I saw that like they pay their assistants really well, these private equity guys. And so my second interview at a private equity firm, I got hired to be a second assistant. And hired on the spot, which was fantastic. And then I stayed with that company for 4 years. And when I left, I was like the vice president of the administration.
Wow.
They were fantastic to me. I was treated really well. And I got to travel the world because it was one of those jobs where I had to do everything. Everything. I mean, his wife.
Did you just say you went from second assistant to VP of the entire company in 4 years?
VP of the administration. It was a small company, so I don't want to make it wasn't like there was like 1,000 employees. It was like almost like a family style trade desk, a true private equity structure. I mean, maybe 18 employees, which was nice. It actually is part of the reason why I like the idea of a small team, because I saw it work. And they were killers. We worked really hard, and I got to meet a lot of really cool people. They invested also in movies, and there was a lot of traveling involved. So I got to see the world on somebody else's dime, which was great too, because he also, when he had crises happening in his personal life, he really trusted me to just learn anything and figure it out, whether it was building a house in Montauk, whether it was, I mean, I ended up with Snoop Dogg in Croatia. You know what I mean? Like there were so many crazy.
Wait, can I ask you guys a question? Hey, what is it? I've Legacy. Are you in the chat from Rumble? Like your little symbol shows the Rumble symbol. Well, not on there, it doesn't, but on my thing it does. Did it merge the chats? I don't know that it's ever done that before. Jam Pam, are you from Rumble too? Did it merge the chats? That's a new thing. Before the Rumble viewers weren't able to participate in the live chat. That's dope. Can those of you that are from Rumble, can you just give me a thumbs up to let me know that it did merge the chats? Because I've never seen that yet. So that's a new feature.
Adventures, and no 2 days were the same. So I had a fantastic time while I was there, and I was there to pay off my student loans. And so every time bonus season came around, I would just ask him to pay another chunk. Hey, can you pay another chunk? Pay another chunk, and he did. I was working for the principal there, and so they also even put me through. I went down to learn Spanish. I moved to Costa Rica for, was it a 8-week program? And you live with a family that doesn't speak any English, because he had a wife that was Spanish speaking. And so she hired a lot of Spanish staff. And I was like, well, I got to learn the language. I can't manage the staff if I don't know the language. And so because they traveled, everyone goes to Montauk or the Hamptons for the summer. I was like, I found a program. Can you pay for me to go down there? I'll learn Spanish. And so I did that. And so
you speak Spanish.
Yeah, well, I'm now really, really rusty, but I was fluent in Spanish, and I can understand Spanish though. And so, yeah, I mean, I really lived a lot in those 4.5 years that I was there, saw a lot of the world, and just, I always wanted to grow. I like learning. I like learning. I like focusing. Anything that I put my mind to, I feel like I can learn. And that was kind of my introduction to, I mean, there's no place, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. That's the expression. And I live by that. I really do believe that, because it's such a tough city.
What were you doing at Vogue?
So that's when I was interning initially. I was interning, and I did the whole magazine circuit. So I did 17 magazine, I did Glamour magazine, and I did Vogue, which was the big one that everyone wants to get into. And it was, of course, as somebody who loved to write, I majored in English and journalism. That was my glamorous idea, was that I was going to go move to New York City and, I don't know, be Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City. I don't know what my idea was. It was, in retrospect, a little bit cartoonish. And then when I got there, I just culturally was like, yeah, I don't want to do this. This is not where I want to work. The girls were so vicious, so hungry. So, but I learned a lot. I mean, they would have fond memories of me. I worked my butt off.
No.
And that was why I kind of graduated up to the magazines and was the head of the intern closet, so to speak, at Vogue, and made great friends. So I've been a lot of places, really, when I think about it.
All right. Oh, and I forgot, I need to hit that super that came in that I was waiting for a time to do that. I guess messing up is a good time to do that. Checking a narrative credibility index for PsyOps. You're talking about the Chase Hughes, right? Chase Hughes. I think that's what you're talking about, right? Chase Hughes. Yep, I did a breakdown on that too. I had it on one of my shows, and I took it the 21-point questions to determine whether or not that your psyop is being ran on you. I did it with the Charlie Kirk assassination, and yep, Butler, yep, total psyop being ran. How long is it? We're at an hour and 49 minutes. And if you see this bottom bar, it's about halfway. It's probably a 3-hour interview. If it lags still, like, I might just end up skipping some of it. Okay, guys.
New York was tough. It was fun. It was a lot of lessons learned. And I
also just don't want to miss anything that she starts talking about Charlie again.
Even the private equity firm even let me take, because I wanted to learn a little bit about private equity. I became a notary because anytime they were like, we need this, I was like, how many times am I going to get a notary in here? Why don't I just become a notary? That's the kind of person I am. Like, so I just took the test and became a notary, and then did this NYU accounting course as well, because I wanted to understand a little bit more about the finance side of what we were doing, because I was interested in the deals. They were really all so different that were being brought. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
You were liberal growing up.
Yeah, I mean, liberal in the youth sense. I think it's weird when my husband says he was always conservative. I'm like, what's wrong with you? He's the rare person who was always conservative. And I was liberal, like in the way that you don't know anything and it just kind of sounds better even. Are you a liberal or conservative? I'm a liberal. I'm a liberal. What do you mean? And I think anytime.
What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean? Before you have bills? Life is it's so easy to be like idealistic when you don't have to pay bills and you don't really comprehend the issues. Then you lean into the emotional issues and like live and let live. You love these like stupid bumper sticker expressions. You see it all so nice. It fits your like AIM profile, like, oh, let me find a quotation to put on my going away message on AIM. Like the youth, you're liberal when you're young. There's that expression. Who says the expression that if you're not a liberal when you're young, you don't have a heart. If you're not a conservative when you die, you don't have a brain.
Yeah. I've heard that.
Oh,
yeah. Then you're paying taxes and you're like, hey, where's this money going? Like,
you get married and you have kids.
Why am I working so hard? And then your philosophy changes a bit as you get older. But I never was politically inclined, so I never voted Democrat. Okay. I would have very much described myself as a liberal. And if you had asked me any topic, I would have been across the Democratic Party line if I was actually voting, but I wasn't.
What switched you?
I had this curious set of circumstances that brought me to like something that was known as the Gamergate conspiracy.
What is that?
Honestly, I still couldn't tell you, to be honest with you, because I am not a gamer, as I just said. But I was like Alice in Wonderland and was trying to, I put up a Kickstarter to put together a company. I had this idea after I paid down all of my student loans and I had a little savings account that I wanted to start. And it was maybe all heart, no brain, a company that would get kids to be able to like get in trouble on the internet without having these consequences, like being arrested. And so my bright idea was that I was going to create this company called Social Autopsy. And if they got in trouble online, they wouldn't like get into legal trouble. And rather than that, it would sort of help them, like, I don't know, maybe get suspended or something. Like, it was like my way of trying to right the wrongs, maybe misguided from what happened in high school, totally misguided. And I was very green. And I put it up on Kickstarter and I got this weird call from this girl called Zoe Quinn. Gamers who are watching this will know exactly who this is. They'll be like, yes, the Gamergate, that's how I knew you or whatever. And it was really weird because she was telling me she was a victim and that I couldn't make this company. She misunderstood what we were even thinking about doing. She thought we're going to build a technology, like a Silicon Valley technology to unmask trolls on the internet, which was not at all what we were doing. We had no capability to do this. We had a splash page. That's why we were on Kickstarter. I had no connections to be able to do that. But her call, she was saying she was a victim, but it was very obvious she was threatening me. And I didn't know anything about this girl or Gamergate. And long story short, after I hang up the phone call with her, I start getting hit with a bunch of threats online. And it was very obvious to me that this girl was directing the threats. Just my gut instinct that something was wrong with this girl. And I landed myself into the middle of a huge Gamergate war that was being covered extensively by Breitbart. I'm really just always in the wrong place at the wrong time. And so suddenly next thing a Washington Post is calling me. I'm not.
Okay, so now it's going to get to Breitbart and it's going to get to Prager and Daily Wire. So we're going to get some information about that, and it's going to circle back.
known at this time. They're calling me and they're asking, and I'm thinking these are my friends. Like, I went to school, Washington Post. That is the top of the line journalism. I learned this in school. Like, what, I'm so flattered to be able to give this interview. And I spoke to this girl, Caitlin Dewey was her name. I'll never forget that. And she was so nice on the phone. And I said to her, yeah. And I explained to her what happened. I'm like, I really don't think that girl Zoe Quinn is telling the truth because, you know, she was a victim and said that she was harassed by gamers. And so she kind of built a whole 501c3 platform based off of that. And I guess the Gamergate conspiracy was that she was actually leading an army of trolls. And that was just my experience with her in 4 seconds, you know, and I had no idea what was going on or what the backstory was. Just like, that girl is led trolls against me, and that girl wasn't a victim. And boy, was that a big statement. Anyway, the Washington Post, after they interviewed me, Caitlin Dewey, also New York Magazine, I believe it was, or the New Yorker, Jesse Signal, or Single was his name, Signal, they lied and smeared me after I thought these guys were my friends. And I told them the truth, and they were protecting this girl, Zoe Quinn. It was so weird. And this was the entire thrust of the Gamergate conspiracy, was that this girl was being artificially protected, that she was actually leading an army of trolls and pretending that we needed to do something about men and gamers on the internet. And this is kind of like the preamble to the Hillary Clinton campaign, which became very much we kind of got into this anti-masculinity, men are toxic. It was kind of the preamble to that. And I think she had a real fear that if I had created this technology which could unmask trolls, that it was going to expose that everything the gamer conspiracy theorists were saying was true.
Wow.
That was my read on the situation. And so she was being protected, and I never really, I'm just not a gamer. I just didn't know. But the only people that actually gave me a fair shake in the media, who I spoke to, was Breitbart, which was crazy because I thought they were the white supremacist, my Connecticut Democratic surroundings, blue liberal-ish mind. I was really reticent to speak to them. And then they wrote the truth about what I had said. So I was kind of what the heck is going on? Why is up, down, and down, up? And at the same time, Trump was running. And so I was kind of questioning my allegiance to leftist media, so to speak, because of how I was treated. And I didn't really comprehend when I just told them the truth about this random chick. And Trump, they were saying, was a racist, a white supremacist, all of this stuff. And I was willing to at least listen to the other side because I now did not trust the Washington Post. And so I decided to just listen to a Trump speech without having it filtered for me by CNN or MSNBC. And I heard his pitch to Black America, and he was in Dimondale, Michigan at the time. And he said, Black America, and he sort of listed all of the ways in which Black Americans are struggling, the statistics, just the raw statistics. And he said, why don't you just take a chance on me? What do you have to lose? Just do something different. You vote Democrat every 4 years. And I was fair elevator pitch. I like it, whatever. Still not going to get my vote, but whatever. And then I pivoted to my trusted sources over at CNN, and Don Lemon was crying over, and was he looked Black America in the face and he said, "You are poor, you are pathetic, you can't do this." And I was that didn't happen at all. That's not what he said. He gave a kind of reasonable pitch. You've been doing the same thing. Why don't you try something different? And so that began a huge, man, could I have had this thing wrong? Are Republicans not all racist and backwards? Is there something I'm missing here? And me just sort of being the naturally curious person that I am, who wants to learn more, I kind of privately began that pursuit. And it led me to Thomas Sowell and his work and his books. And it changed my life. I really love Thomas Sowell. I feel like he's my private tutor who I've never met.
Right on.
Charlie read him all the time.
Do you still consider yourself to be a conservative?
I'm always going to be a conservative. I actually realized I always was a conservative. I was raised with my grandfather. He was conservative. A Republican,
Yeah,
different.
I guess there is a difference now, huh?
And I guess
Yeah.
there always has been, because like I was liberal, but I wasn't a Democrat. I didn't vote Democrat. Or I thought I was liberal, but actually I was raised conservatively and my values were always conservative, and I am a conservative. I think it works. I think family works, and that's the most. What are we conserving at the end of the day is the question. And to me, it's traditional families. I think that's our best guard against the government.
I think so too. Honestly, I think that's almost the only, might be the only thing that we can really, I don't know. You had said something earlier about, we were talking about, do you feel like it's your responsibility to do what you do? And then you'd said you really trust your gut when you're hiring people. I don't know, man. I trust my gut, but maybe I don't fucking trust my gut, because the lead up to this last election was just all lies.
Something happened to Trump.
Okay, here we
Right.
go. All right, so if you guys saw the preview, so we've already talked about a little bit about, they didn't talk about everything about Charlie and all the things that they could go into. There's more, because I saw from the clip. And then we talked a little bit about Kanye. Her backstory's done. Now we're going to be talking about Trump, and it's going to lead back into Charlie. Okay.
Because something happened to all of them.
Yeah. Well,
Every single one of them.
who else?
Except Joe Kent.
I wasn't. I mean, what did you expect from Marco Rubio? Like,
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely
Exactly what
not.
we see.
Exactly. The person that I think I placed stock in was Trump,
Yeah,
and
we all did.
we got played. I
Yeah.
mean, there's no other way to say it. We
100%.
got. It's kind of shocking the ways that he lied, and so you have to then go, why? This is nothing like Trump 1.0.
No.
Trump 2.0 is totally different. And the obvious answer is, I think that Trump desperately, by any means necessary, wanted to win again. Felt the election, like many people do feel, was stolen from him in 2020. COVID, changing the way we vote. I totally agree with that, by the way. And his entire life's mission then transformed into, I will do anything to win again, including making a deal with the devil and selling my soul.
That's what you think happened.
And he took $300 million from Miriam Adelson, something that he once mocked Marco Rubio from doing. He tweeted once about Sheldon Adelson owning Marco Rubio.
Yep.
And you don't take $300 million from people who run the Vegas.
And then
A very generous woman.
say you're going to screw him over. And then Andrew Kolvet goes and tells him. And then Butler happens. Coincidence? No, remember, Erica doesn't believe in coincidences. Neither do we.
You don't take $300 million from people who run Vegas
Nope.
and tell them no about anything.
Nope.
That's how it works. That you could talk about that on the micro level. This stuff growing up, basic survival skills. Like when people, you don't borrow money from people unless you know who they are. And that's can apply to gangs. It's time to pay up. And so Trump is not his own man, plain and simple.
Yeah. Not.
Trump is not running this administration.
No.
It wasn't a gift. It wasn't, hey, I really love what you're doing.
Right.
Here's $300 million.
Strings
So it
attached.
came with contingencies, demands, one of it being that they wanted to annex the West Bank, which was something that was told to me by Charlie and Andrew Kolvet, who were present for that meeting
What?
between Miriam Adelson and Donald Trump, that she said that. I'll cut you this check. But when we want to annex the West Bank, that's what they wanted in exchange. So now I think he probably has a little bit of regret taking the money.
You think so?
I think so. I don't think he likes not being his own man. I think that's what a lot of the lashing out is about. I think Trump at his core wants to be liked, and I think he knows he's not liked right now.
Yeah.
You think he'll ever be liked again?
No.
No.
Me neither.
Mm-mm.
How much wealth has he amassed since he took this presidency?
The better question is, how much more do they need? How much more does the Trump family need? I mean, when Ivanka swimming to Albania, like what like how much more money do you guys need?
No,
When
want
is enough enough?
more power. Never.
Yeah.
No.
And that's why you feel like they fully have given themselves in, because none of them were like that before.
You don't think so?
No, I think I spent a lot of time with Don Jr.,
Hmm.
Don Trump Jr., and he was a real person.
Interesting.
And he was certainly a very close friend of Charlie's. He shocked me the most after the assassination because I knew Don.
Wow.
And I challenged right away. I challenged him. I said, if Don Jr., who hunts, that's the guy, he knows the wilderness.
Yeah, it's true.
If Don Jr. comes out and says he believes that Charlie's neck stopped a 30-06 bullet, I'll back off. I don't think Don Jr. has even spoken about Charlie's assassination since.
Not that part. No.
I think a lot of people are going to go to hell for an eternity. I know a lot of people are going to go to hell for an eternity.
Yeah.
But the level of talk about the mourning process of realizing that Charlie gave so much of his life to put those people into power, contending with that level of betrayal,
Nuts.
transformed me.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, no, I don't consider myself to be a Republican. Yes, I do consider myself to be a conservative.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't even know what the fuck this means. I don't even know if I'll ever vote again.
That's how I feel.
Probably not. I just, going through this and uncovering everything that we've uncovered, nothing's changed.
Hmm.
I don't know about you, but for me, it's a fuck ton of stress. Being associated with these people, now they have my number. They can reach me.
Mhm.
I fucking hate that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was it all for? This shit that we see? Do you think this needed to happen?
What needed to happen?
This veil to be lifted?
Yeah, I have to believe that. I have to believe it. I am at my core an eternal optimist, and I don't want to give in to like despair. And I have to believe that Charlie was right, that his death was going to happen because it would be tied to a global awakening.
Mm.
And I've seen that. I've seen the seeds of that. I've seen the sprouts of that.
Oh, for
I
sure.
see the incredible audience that I have amassed around the world. I mean, going to Russia recently and realizing how big the Becoming Brigitte series was. I had no idea. There is true evil being exposed, and it was easy for evil to control the world when we were dumb and stupid and
Yeah.
thought it was impossible, right? Some of these conspiracies. I mean, the fact that we are having real discussions about Freemasonry, about the occult, about true demons, about what demonic possession is, that you can sit here across from Father Ripperger.
Yeah.
And I read the comments, and that was a transformative episode, by the way.
Great episode.
But to see all the comments of like, I need to go to church now. This episode made me want to go to church. Not, this guy's crazy. What's he on? The Exorcist is just a movie, just a Hollywood movie.
These used to be fringe ideas and topics that, people, the minority of people would be interested in and, search answers in. And you talk about it with some of your friends in public, and you get labeled a nut and a conspiracy theorist and insane. And yeah, but I do agree that it's opened up a veil. It's lifted a veil.
That's uplifting. I think that's uplifting, and it had to happen. I think we as a society needed shock treatment, and Charlie's death was shocking in so many ways. Not just the death, the administration's reaction to it, his wife. There's so many shock points. It shocked the senses in so many ways.
Yep.
It made us consider things that were so beyond the realm of what we, I think, could have ever thought feasible I think his assassination had to be live streamed. And
What do you
people
mean?
who are
Why do you say
evil,
that? Some ritualistic thing, or
yeah. So for 2 ends, the people who orchestrated his assassination, it was ritualistic.
Hmm.
I think that they wanted it to be publicized in that way.
Yeah.
Because they thought they were then going to harness our emotion
Yep.
from having seen it to their benefit.
They do that. They did that on 9/11. That's like a real thing, you guys. I mean, I believe it's a real thing. I've looked into this, and it's the reason why certain, 9/11 ended up being like as televised as it was, and the timing of it, and everything that followed. Yeah, 100%, 100%.
And what it did was it certainly did harness emotion, but it was not to their benefit.
Yeah, it turned.
The emotional reaction that happened, if they could have controlled it and built a conduit for it,
Like they did with 9/11.
would have been amazing.
Yeah.
If they could have just channeled it as they wanted to, literally channeling energy, a
Yep.
form of witchcraft,
Yep.
right? And they wanted to channel that energy toward Erica,
Mhm.
who I honest to God perspective, I believe she is a tried and true psychopath, truly. And I'm not saying that to be theatrical. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. I mean, like clinical psychopath. And I think that is what has shocked them, is that they couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so Charlie's death contributed to an awakening, and I have to keep that perspective that
keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't even.
Oh no. Oh no. What just happened?
know how it was going to work, or how it was supposedly worked. And yeah, it was
Hold on.
shape charge and
And
Oh my gosh. Did anyone see the hold on, let me pause it right there. Oh my goodness. I don't know why it booted me out. That's weird. I didn't hit anything. I didn't touch anything. Where were we?
would have been, I'd like to see him run as well. And I think when I hear those words, Charlie in his life, and how I think it became an Israeli solitary voice, maybe outside of JD Vance's, in terms
Hold
of
on.
trying
I'm gonna get
to,
it.
and I think that is what has shocked them,
There
is
we
that
go.
they couldn't do it.
There we go. Hopefully it doesn't boot me again. I don't know what the heck that was about.
And so Charlie's death contributed to an awakening, and I have to keep that perspective that,
keep going.
No, I'm at like
I mean, they didn't even look
2:08,
into his
47.
own assassination attempt.
Trump,
Yeah.
Butler.
They
There's a
fucking
reason for
blocked
that.
the investigation.
Yeah. Mhm.
What do you think that was?
I covered that recently on my show, and it should be reopened. And I think it was a successful assassination of Corey Comparatore. I think
Was that the
there's,
firefighter?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I met his daughter at
Did you?
the inauguration that I never should have fucking went to.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, they don't believe the story. They are not satisfied. His family is not satisfied with the investigation. And there was a strange set of circumstances of his best friend from high school having died a couple of years earlier from a
Oh, sorry.
plausibly PETN explosive.
Yep.
And I covered that recently. The
From a
strange.
Petin explosive?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. He worked with them, and I covered it recently on my show.
The firefighter that was killed worked at the Petin plant?
His best friend died a couple of years earlier, and worked at he was a supervisor at a company that dealt with Petin explosives, because they perforated the wells for oil and gas companies, which requires the Petin explosive. He died in a mysterious set of circumstances in his backyard, where he was burning stuff in a barrel and something exploded and ironically hit his neck.
Yeah.
And he died instantly. And his friends didn't believe the circumstances surrounding his death.
Yeah.
I had heard rumors of an illegal explosives ring, sort of people getting Petin illegally. And Corey was this guy's friend since high school. There's a lot of questions about, shortly after Corey died, Israel did their beeper patent explosive attack within like 2 months. It was very quickly. That's weird. All of the stuff could be considered conspiracy, but I think what adds weight to conspiracies are a lack of answers. When there's a lack of answers, conspiracies become weighted.
Yeah.
And you can't tell me that it's normal for a man to survive an assassination attempt and shut down the investigation into his own assassination attempt. That doesn't make sense.
No.
Trump can't make that make sense.
Do you think he knows?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why he's blocking the investigation. Is it him blocking it or is it the FBI?
No, it's him. And we know Tucker. I'm surprised that Sean doesn't know at least the whole issue with Tucker and Dan Bongino. And then he released the text messages, and then Dan released some that like didn't actually do what he thinks he thought he did, but admitted that Trump is the one that shut it down and that Trump had the ability to release more information and that there was more information out there and more things to be done, but Trump shut it down. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to know who just tried to kill me unless I already know who tried to kill me and they're telling me we're going to actually kill you if you don't do what we tell you. You know what I mean? And then that whole giving him the golden beeper thing, that's a veiled threat. That's like freaking threat for sure. Like we could do it to you. Here's a trophy.
Well, if Tucker is to be believed, you can decide whether you believe Tucker or whether you believe Dan Bongino.
There it
I'm
is.
going to go with Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, I'll go with Tucker.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Tucker. And Dan's reaction to what Tucker said was very strange. He was like, "How?" He's like, going to beat up Tucker Carlson or something. I was like, Tucker Carlson's not going to fight you. Like, what is wrong with you? But he came undone when Tucker revealed the conversation they had. And Tucker seemed to be telling the truth that, Dan said that Trump blocked it personally.
He did. Yeah. Let me read this super real quick that popped up. Shay Town, thank you for doing this live. We appreciate you. Thank you, Shay Town. 100%. Yeah, 100%. I just have to be careful. So that's why I do have to add commentary and my point when I have something to say. And yeah. All right, let's continue.
And that's reflected even in what Don Trump Jr. said. He said, "My dad is satisfied with the investigation. I'm not, and I'm going to leave it there." So clearly the directive had gone out from Trump that no more talk about Butler. So make that make sense.
I didn't know Don said that. I didn't
You survived an assassination attempt. You're now number one in charge of the country. Why would you not just...
I have no idea why you wouldn't want to know who's trying to fucking kill you.
Because you already know.
This is like turning.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, they don't.
I don't know why it makes sense to so many other fucking people, but
no,
it doesn't make sense to me. I would want to know who's trying to kill me.
Yeah. So there's something we're missing about Butler, and it's the exact same like stage, so to speak, the exact same play as the Charlie Kirk assassination,
okay,
where everyone who should be the most curious about investigating is very much not curious about investigating, angry at people that are investigating and attacking people who want to get answers.
And Charlie Kirk said it. He said, keep asking questions. It's the only thing that keeps us free. And Erica Kirk and all them and their little minions, one of their big attacks on Candace and all of us is, they're just asking questions. Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? Well, there's no evidence of what you're talking about, you guys. So you can go take a hike.
The public's going to notice that. The public's going to notice that something's not right.
Hands down, yeah.
And they're going to begin to suspect the people who purport to be the victims.
Yeah.
Why do you think nobody in this administration is speaking up? What do you think they're all under the same control, or are they all under Trump's control?
I'm going to let her answer, but let me read this real quick. Just Jessica, what up? High five. I'm not sure what to think about Sean. Why is he acting like he doesn't know so many details when he's stated them before? Which ones has he stated before? He hasn't. Are you talking about Charlie Kirk or about Butler, Jessica? Which one are you talking about? He didn't like in the Brian Harpole interview. Like he didn't state any like real facts on his own. He was reading from a piece of paper that he had printed out in front of him, and this was back in October of 2025. I'd mentioned I'm not trying to make excuses for him. I think he's not done a great job in a lot of interviews, especially the Brian Harpole one. But I mean, it did allow Brian Harpole to feel comfortable and to just walk himself into a shallow grave, in my opinion. But I think that him, like Megan and Tucker, Candace has devoted all of her show to this. It makes sense why she knows more than all of them. I've devoted all of my shows to this topic. It makes sense that I would know more than Sean. Sean's doing multiple interviews per week with other people on totally different topics all over different fields of expertise, that he's not devoting a lot of his spare time to investigate this personally. In my opinion, I think that's what is probably at play of why he doesn't know a lot. I think it's genuine. I don't think he knows a lot.
We know that Charlie represented almost a solitary voice, maybe outside of JD Vance's, in terms of trying to communicate to Trump that getting involved with Iran was a bad idea.
Yep. 100%.
That administration is not working for Donald Trump. They're working for Israel.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Duh.
Trump is powerless.
Duh.
Everyone can see that.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, I had Kash Patel sitting right across from me at the other studio.
When?
And we just went on and on about the Epstein shit.
Oh, yeah. Before.
On and on and on.
Yep.
And then nothing.
Where's Kash Patel from?
Where is he from?
He's from Vegas.
Oh, okay.
If Kash Patel has ever had any power in his life, his power came from that entire city was built by Israel. Miriam Adelson has served the IDF.
Yep.
Sheldon Adelson said his biggest regret was not having served the IDF. They've never been, Trump said it on stage. She's more loyal to Israel than she is to our country.
Yep.
It's not a secret. Vegas is a dangerous place. People say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. No, stays in Vegas and gets sent over to Tel Aviv. It's just a city of blackmail, to be honest with you. And they're all kind of tied there. They're all kind of tied, in my view, to Vegas. Andrew Kolvet, he's from Reno. His dad did, legal work on the casinos, and it's like this thing.
Yep.
His brother served. It was, from the Reno unit that went over and were guarding the poppy seeds in Afghanistan. That was his brother, was like colonel lieutenant on that.
I didn't know that.
That was just poppy trafficking. After that,
nothing small.
We had the opioid crisis.
Yeah.
What do we think these wars are about?
Mm-hmm.
What did we win in Afghanistan?
Nothing.
Poppy seeds.
Well, we didn't. They did.
An opioid crisis.
Yeah. I hope she mentions Erica Kirk's connection to Vegas. It was one of her grandfathers. What is it? Rothstein, right? The Rothsteins. And then it's oh my gosh. And it's connected to the Jewish mob, not mafia, but the Jewish mob. Okay. I really wish SRS, so Sean Ryan, accepted the item Brian Harpole offered. Yeah, I agree. But would you really want to have a piece of, if Sean was smart, he would have accepted it and then handed it right off to someone that could test it, or given it to Candace, or I don't know. I don't know if he knows who Barron is. He might know who Barron is, but yeah, but I could also understand why, like, that's just like a really grotesque GIF offer, and like accepting it in the moment. If he wasn't prepared for that to happen, which, like, how are you going to prepare yourself? Like, Brian's going to offer you a bag that was there and it's got Charlie's blood on it. Hopefully this comes up and he can confirm that that's true. So, and then we got this. Thank you for doing this tonight. Bless you. Yeah, I'm here, even though my rump is numb from sitting for 3 hours. We're going to do it. I might have to stand up, shake out my legs.
What do you think is going to happen in the midterms?
Ah,
What actually? Let me back up.
don't switch.
Now you see Trump speaking out against Israel. You see
don't buy it.
Vance. I don't buy it either.
Not really.
You see Trump and Vance. Now all of a sudden, it's like, where the fuck did this come from?
It all seems very performative to me, and I'm not sure why they're moving to, I guess, this new act, so to speak.
Because they're destroyed.
Yeah, maybe because
They're
midterms are
completely destroyed.
maybe because midterms are around the corner.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
mean, they're fucking destroyed.
So they're going to pretend he's like Mr. Tough Guy again and standing up to Bibi. It's all very performative.
Do you think
to me.
people are going to buy this shit?
No.
Some people do. Sadly, some people do. Apocalypse Now, what up? Thank you guys for all you do. Thank you, Apocalypse. I got another one down here. What does this say? Gifted a Blackline brief membership. Thank you, Michelle Mabel. And all right, let's hit play. Let's keep going.
Do you think Israel's in on the act?
Yes,
Me too.
I think
for
we
sure.
should take the Mossad at their word when they say we are the directors, the actors. We can infiltrate any organization, any company.
Dang it.
We're the script
Moving
writers. I believe that.
That's a 60 Minutes interview, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
After referring to, how they were able to infiltrate and get the PETN explosive Petin into the beepers, and
Yep.
how they created all these fake companies with fake employees. And I think about when I hear those words, Charlie and his life, and how I think it became an Israeli Truman Show,
100%.
but similar for Trump. Everyone around him is just working for a higher boss, and it's the Rothschilds and it's
Yes.
Israel.
Yes, and I did a full-on episode about that and the connections with JFK, and it all points back to the Rothschilds. It really does, which is nuts. IDF. I'm not going to read the last part, but your handle. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your super chat. I appreciate it. I do agree with the handled name. I'm just not going to say that right now. Why are the people who wear the little hats able to spy on us and we not spy on them? Yeah. Figure out who you can't criticize, and that's who controls you. So it's because they control us.
So all of that is performative. I mean, I couldn't be motivated to vote for midterms,
Yeah, me neither.
especially after what we saw happen with Thomas Massey,
Yes.
where they're just so in our face about it now, where they're like, we don't like you. If you have a opinion against Israel, we'll spend.
That's the only thing I can't really put together in my head is we see this act. We see all of a sudden everybody's a tough guy against Israel. Like, oh, right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right around the corner from midterms. But I also don't really believe in the election system because of all kinds of shit we've seen.
Right.
Spencer Pratt's race,
Oh, yeah.
probably the most recent one. Massey's race.
It's all rigged.
So if the elections are phony, then why do they give a shit about the act?
Because the illusion matters.
Yeah.
Why does it matter?
Because think about if truly tomorrow they came out and said, your vote doesn't mean anything. We've been running the election since the beginning of time. We kill people in broad daylight. Yeah, we did JFK. We did Charlie and
Yeah, the uprising.
we're going to keep doing whatever the hell we want. So F you.
You think something would actually happen?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Because it's actually something Charlie said to me when we were traveling once. He said, one of his little pop quizzes. What is one thing that every civilization who's ever had that has ever had slavery since the beginning of human history? What is one thing that every single one of those civilizations has in common?
I don't know.
I didn't know either. And he said there were always more slaves than masters. That always stuck with me. The few are able
to control the
get
many.
all of us to behave. So what they fear is a real revolution. That's why they always stoke the flames of internal unrest, because if
Civil
all
war.
of us were in lockstep and we were like, let's go kill these pedophiles,
Yes.
let's go take care of business, that's the biggest threat to the system.
And I've said that it looks like they are wanting to push us into a civil war. and we should reject that on all accounts. And if we do anything, which I'm not like saying we should, but if like it came between revolution or civil, like it needs to be revolution, hands down. They're pushing the Civil War. They did a movie, right? That was total BS. And then all of this race stuff that's been stoked with like Chud the Builder and then Carmelo Anthony. I mean, obviously, I think those things are being used after the fact to stoke civil unrest, civil strife, civil war.
A revolution that they don't control. So instead, they create revolutions over stupidity. Trans bathroom rights. Keep them focused and arguing about stuff that doesn't matter at all. BLM, racial strife, Why isn't there a George Floyd Square? This is fodder for idiots. While they buy islands, they take up land, they destroy heritage, they rewrite history.
Build bunkers.
20 years from now, they'll say, you already heard, I think, Jerry Seinfeld say, Palestine doesn't exist. He's a man of the future. They'll rewrite history. They'll say they were the victims. It all started on October 7th.
James Cadiz said the same thing. Erica's pastor said the same thing. Jack Hibbs, Frank Turek, Rob McCoy, Greg Laurie.
And they'll wipe away entire identities. I mean, good for the people in Albania who are standing up to the Israeli settlers right now. Don't know what their plan is there, but something's going on. And that's their biggest threat. So they have to get you to believe in the illusion of elections because you have to think you can change it and that your voice matters.
Who do you think is going to be the next president? I mean, Polymarket right now puts Vance at the top.
Oh, that's gross.
And then 2 points below is Rubio and Gavin Newsom tied.
Rubio? What? Absolutely not.
No way.
Well, I mean, maybe with APAC money, anything
Rubio's
can happen.
Trump's golden boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe with APAC money, anything can happen.
They'll just buy it. Like Massey, they bought
I'm not into political prognostications. I wouldn't put any of those people. If we had a fair system, I wouldn't put any of those people in the bucket for who.
I could do that. I could do for a stretch, for a quick break. Let's take a stretch together. Let's real quick. My back is killing me. We started this at 7. It's 10 here. I've been stretching when I make the video disappear for a sec, when I make my video disappear, and I've been trying to stretch. My lower back is killing me. I know you guys see it. I'm like, all right, let's keep going.
Who would be the next president?
We might have to do this in 2 settings, guys.
Yeah, I think they're going to run Gavin Newsom. That's probably accurate. But on the Republican side, there is an apathy that's setting in.
We're just now at the halfway point.
And I don't see how Vance gets around everything Trump did. I don't see how Vance gets around what happened in Iran. I don't see how Vance is able to talk his way out of that.
Oh, well, I'm going to tell you how. All these Catholics are really leaning into being Catholic now because it's the fastest growing Christian denomination in the world.
Yes. Yep.
So they're leaning into that.
I don't think that's going to be enough.
You don't think so?
Nope.
They're leaning into it pretty hard.
You guys, we're literally, look at the bar at the bottom. We're at the half. Well, maybe we're a little bit past halfway, but oh my gosh, I don't know, man, that I can make it the whole distance. I have to wake up so early. I didn't think it was gonna be a friggin' 5-hour interview. Holy smokes, we might have to do the rest of this tomorrow. Let me gauge it with the audience. Let me hit play. And
have you seen it?
I think he missed an opportunity to stand up to Trump on some of those points, and his unnecessary tweet against the Pope. I don't think that Catholics are tough.
I know.
That's
I'm just
one
saying.
One group that have not been socially engineered. So
I'm watching.
Yeah,
and they're really trying to tap into it.
I don't think it's going to work. I think people are so much more awake to, and especially the and I'm going to call this, and I don't mean to attack Vance on this, but just more broadly speaking, the faith grift post Charlie. People have their antennas up because that's been the entire Turning Point thing.
I mean, as long as she's talking about Turning Point and Charlie and stuff, I'm in it. But if it goes back to like other stuff, I'm like, I put the poll up, you guys. Please take the poll and let me know what you guys want to do. As long as they're talking about Charlie Kirk and Turning Point, though, I'm in. And
it has not registered. It's felt inauthentic. And sure, that was like a part of the evangelical world, but there have been a lot of, I think, missed opportunities for Vance to not write about being a Catholic or say he's a Catholic, but to stand up to the stuff that's happening in the administration that's just downright ungodly. You know, you bomb a school with 150 schoolgirls in it, and then they lie about it. And then it's sort of like, whatever. I don't know, BB wanted us to do it. I think it's going to be hard for him to get around it. So but anything can happen in a world where elections are fake and gay. Anything can happen. Marco Rubio could be the next president of the United States. Someone they can control.
I hope Massey runs. I hope Joe Kent runs.
He's great.
I really like Joe Kent.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I'd like to see him run as well. And I think the way that he resigned and wrote about his conscience, and also the nastiness that Trump threw at him about his wife, I was just absolutely shocked.
Nothing makes my skin crawl more than a fucking piece of shit that never served the fucking country talking shit about a guy who served the country, whose wife was fucking assassinated by Al-Qaeda with one of my really good fucking friends, Scotty Wirtz.
I'm glad he did it. I'm glad he did it.
Yeah, sure.
Because I think servicemen and women needed to see that.
Yep.
Because that is the perspective that Israel holds of the men that serve.
And you guys, I have a video. We're not going to get to it tonight for sure. Of Charlie. Like I've spoken about it a couple times. We'll watch it in the next few days when, where Charlie and Andrew and Blake and all of them, they were like, besides the limited bombing, even if they did more air bombing with more servicemen, they wouldn't have supported it at all. And if one serviceman or woman was a casualty of this war, they were going to be done. Turning Point, Charlie Kirk was going to be done. He said it himself. Blake said it. Andrew said it. It's on tape. It's nuts. Like, they don't know the internet's forever. I mean, yeah, like they're going to scrub videos and take things down, but I got it as long as it's here. Hopefully we can get to it in the next day or two.
I believe that. I believe that it is, you are toy soldiers.
Yeah.
And
we're slaves.
Yeah, you're slaves.
We're slaves.
Yeah.
We're all slaves.
Mm-hmm. I've had a real awakening about
we
that.
We have to be tax mules sending our money to Israel.
And our sons and daughters to die for them.
Yep.
And people should not serve. I've been strong on that. It's like our country's occupied. You are not signing up to serve for the United States military. Your streets are not going to become more paved. Your streets are not going to become safer. Your schools are not going to become better. Theirs will. So if that is a draw for you, then sign up and serve the United States of Israel. But
they gave her so much criticism for making that statement. And I'm a prior serviceman. I served in the United States Marine Corps, 6 years, honorably discharged. I wouldn't want any of my family to join any of my kids to serve in the current status of everything. It's totally obvious that even since 9/11 was a total sham, and I signed up because of it, and I believed the hype, and many friends were casualties of war because of it, and it all was a lie. And this is the same thing. It's not for us, it's for some other country's benefit, not ours.
This is where we can make a difference.
Yeah, I just had a really good friend get deployed, a Green Beret. I won't even say what group he's at. And he jokingly, but you can see it in his fucking eyes, says, I'm getting deployed early. I got to go fight for Israel.
No
and you
way.
can he wants out. He's talking about
leave. That's simple.
Well, it's not.
There's a legal means to
I mean-
leave the military, and I encourage on my show every man and woman to do it. Because at the end of the day, the best laid plans don't work without bodies. And I think they learned that lesson in Iran.
I mean, yes.
They couldn't get people to get behind it. That's why they need the propaganda machine. They needed people to be behind it, and they weren't. And that terrifies them, truly. The idea of Americans not signing up for the military, that's an existential threat. I could see it in Pete Hegseth's eyes as he's like, we're going to raise the age people to join the military. I bet you are. What does that tell me? Numbers are low.
And what does that tell you? Who was Charlie Kirk's main audience? Military-aged men and women, mainly men, right? And if he continued to go hard on Israel and point out all that he was, they were not going to keep signing up, man. That's just one more reason to take him out, you know? This war was in the plans for a while. The machine of the government and, you know, the Department of War and the military, it's a slow moving machine that has to get, you know, momentum over time. And once it's going, it's hard to stop, but it takes a bit to get going. And they had this in the works for sure. 14K, Matt, there's no one who deserves it but you. Thank you. I saw that. I didn't want to interrupt everyone, and you know, but thank you guys. That actually is more of a testament to all of you than me. A lot of new people showed up today and a lot of new people subscribed. So thank you all for your vote of confidence and your support. So I appreciate it. I'll do everything every day to earn it every day. All right, let's continue. They're still talking about what matters. So let's keep it going.
People are waking up. So if you want to go be big bad and take over Palestine and do it with your sons and daughters.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, for a Green Beret to not want to go to war,
Yeah,
one of the fucking highest trained units in the fucking United States.
That says
like,
a lot.
Legit war fighters doesn't want to go to war because
Yeah.
he knows it's not for us.
Mhm.
And he's not the only one. It's all of them.
Mhm.
It's fucking all of them.
That's
And when you
great.
get back, you could be so lucky as to have given your entire body to have lifelong ailments, to not be able to get appointments at the VA. And if you're really lucky, I mean, really lucky, the president can tweet mocking the fact that your wife died and you got remarried, serving the country.
Yep.
Who doesn't want to sign up? Sign up today.
Well, I mean, now there's all this talk about the draft.
Why? Because it's not there. But guess what? You're better off spending a year in jail than going to fight for Israel. So it's like, how far are they going to take this? Are they going to be like Ukraine, dragging people off the street like thugs?
Probably.
That's the threat that they need. You can't. Okay, you guys want it, Zionists? You're so big and bad and powerful. Send your sons and daughters. Your sons and daughters first. I will not let my boys won't serve. Not in this environment. It's an honor to serve
Not right now.
the country that we live in right now, the occupied country that we live in right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Good.
Tell me if we're getting invaded. I'm done going overseas.
Yeah.
The best thing to do is
Everybody else
to
should be
defend
too.
your neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Defend your families. Build smaller communities. That's what I encourage people to do. I'm learn to farm. That's the real difference you can make.
Let's take another break. All right, Candace, we're back from the break, and let's get back to you. Degree 180.
All right. That's going to be a stopping point for me, ladies and gentlemen. Unless I'm going to skip past the background.
Yeah, just a blog that I had when I was young. We just shot it and it did pretty well. Black, you want to use your name. And it's like, oh, okay. So I just switched the channel name over to Candace Owens. And yeah, I still have.
Is that your channel or is that Daily Wire's channel?
No, I had to pause my channel. I really kind of paused it when I started working for Turning Point USA because then I was making videos for them. And so you'll see that gap. I kind of only made a few videos really, and then completely stopped and was doing work for Turning Point USA and still making videos, but making the content for them. So it was TPUSA videos really about various topics, which were still, doing very well. And then had kind of the firepower of I don't have to edit my own videos and things of that nature. Then when I took the job then I was at PragerU. So
all right. Actually, yeah, it's going to be a good stopping point, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. It's 10 something here. I still got to shower, eat, get ready for bed. I thank you guys so much for everything that you've done, and everything you continue to do. God bless you guys. But hold on first. If you guys haven't done so on the way in, while you were here, on the way out, please hit the like and subscribe. It's the best way to help support the channel. And it's free. You can also, in the video posts live, like after I end it, just write a comment and hit the hype points for free. Those are free ways to support the channel. Also, other people that do want to donate or support but don't want to give it through YouTube, you can do it here through Venmo. Just scan the QR code. All right. Or you could do the buymeacoffee.com/the Blackline brief. Just scan that QR code. And then just write what you would like your support or your donation to go to. And I make sure that it does. All right. Yeah. Sorry if some people are bummed. There's no way I could go another 2 hours, you guys. All right. But I love you guys. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Hopefully everyone's okay with it. And I guess I could put a post up or something to see if everyone does want to finish this tomorrow. It's not going to be live on YouTube until a couple days. It's not going to come out tomorrow. I mean, if it does, then it does, but I don't think it is. Usually it's like a 4-day window after it is on Patreon. And so we could still get it earlier than other people. And then that way I could also watch it ahead of time and get the timestamps down, and we can skip the stuff that's not about what we care most about, which is Charlie Kirk, TPUSA, Erica Kirk, assassination, the investigation, and all that. Okay. God bless you guys. Love you guys so much. Have a great night. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.